Hi guys, good morning. Sorry it got late today. So we will start off with the orientation. Today the session is going to be, I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of the entire paper, okay, and I'm going to tell you the approach to it. There will be a few things I'll compulsorily not tell today because we will not be able to talk about or discuss about it on YouTube live, correct? So there will be some limitations. With that limitations, how much ever is possible, irrespective of you people join the program and do not join the program, I'll try to make sure what is to be the approach in every section in this paper. Okay, that is the objective of today's class. Alright, so if we start in the general studies, before we get into this, what are the aspects of general studies? I'll just discuss a few things, misconceptions that students have in paper 1. Okay, the first is people think that paper 1 is very easy because the syllabus overlaps with prelims. Okay, the syllabus overlaps with prelims, especially the geography, the ancient and medieval, the art and culture, and modern India. So it is usually your entire energy will go into studying society, post-independence, and world history. So this is where you think the entire paper is made up of this. So usually your allocation of time is like this. Okay, let us assume that in the aspect of 3 months, let us say you are dedicating 3 months for mains preparation. In the 3 months, let us say 20 days is for GS. Okay, I am just telling hypothetically. 20 days if you give for GS, most of you what you will do is 15 days you will study this, and then 5 days you will dedicate to this. The only reason is because at the back of your mind you are feeling that anyways this I have studied for prelims, this is very easy, so let me just study it there. Because this is new to you, you have not been taught this in any foundational courses across the country, you start feeling that let me put more emphasis here. Okay, so what you do is you start reading new books on society, collecting new thinkers, new quotes, and you make sure that society is, become as bulky as possible. And then coming to this post-independence and world history, you will obviously read one book on that. Okay, so in doing this, you are going to spend 15 days, and then you will come back and say, anyways I know this, and you will just glance everything that you have studied for prelims from this subject and go back to write answers. Okay, this is the most committed mistake in GS1. That is why GS1 is perceived as easy, and then when you go to the mains exam, you are feeling that whenever the questions, even let us say the modern India questions that they are asking, you will not be able to answer it. I will show you the previous year question, how they are asking. Try to answer that with your prelims knowledge, let us see. Okay, so whenever I am showing the previous year questions now, whichever section I am showing, okay, there are 2 sections that you have to observe very carefully. One is this section which you are going to study anew because this you have not studied in your foundational program. Observe the questions that come here. The second is observe the questions that are coming here in the syllabus that overlaps with your prelims. Okay, now the only thing you have to do is you have to decide, is whatever you are studying for prelims coming here, okay, yes or no, and how much difficulty is the questions here, yes or no. These are the 2 things that you have to identify on your own and tell me at the end of the class. That is your job. You understood this? But what is happening is, in the entire paper it is perceived as easy. The only reason is because this part is people are thinking that I have anyway studied for prelims, so let me just bank on that. I am not telling that whatever you studied for prelims will go to waste. I am only telling that the approach should be different. I am only telling that your allocation of time and efforts is very wrong. By the end of this session, these are the 2 things that will make you realize, that will help you streamline how to study for GS1. Got this? So this is the first problem. It is perceived as easy. The next is, it is perceived as bulky. Why it is perceived as bulky is 2 reasons. One, there is less issue based bullet point. Issue based bullet points are less and descriptive bullet points are more. in paper 1. what do we mean by issue based bullet points and descriptive bullet points? I am talking about the syllabus bullet points. In the syllabus, if you observe the bullet points, there are two types of bullet points. Issue based, for example, it may be vulnerable sections, it may be governance, it can be social justice, it can be self-help groups. These are all issues. So what happens when there is issues? You can research on that issue, and half a day if you spend, you can create a comprehensive notes. What is the definition? What is the pros? What is the cons? What is the government initiatives? What are the challenges? You are done with it. So whenever the syllabus is filled with issue based bullet points, it becomes easier for you to prepare your own notes and prepare your own approaches, because there is a finite set of things to do. Correct? But what happens in paper 1? In paper 1 also you have issue based bullet points, but this issue based bullet points only overlap with society. Unfortunately, see, though issue based bullet point overlaps with society, you are going to complicate society only with the perception that you have not studied it in your foundational program. For example, you have regionalism, you have communalism, you have secularism, you have urbanization, you have women issues, you have population related issues. See, these are all issue based bullet points. No one has told you to read one full book on that. Salient features of Indian society. Are you getting this? So society is an issue based bullet point. Unfortunately, you are perceiving it as something bulky and you are complicating that subject. Okay. Now coming to the descriptive bullet points, this is giving you the perception that it is bulky. The reason is because if you take modern India, look at the syllabus bullet point. What do they tell you? They tell you starting from the colonial power to the freedom struggle to the Indian independence. Now that is a very huge bulk. You cannot create notes on that. That is a very wrong approach. Yes or no? So that creates the descriptiveness. That creates that bulkiness. The next is the ancient and medieval. They have not explicitly told ancient and medieval, but they have told art and culture from ancient to modern times. Now when they say art and culture from ancient to modern time, it is inclusive of ancient, medieval and art and culture. Again look at it, it's a bulky thing. You cannot sit and prepare notes on this. You have to read books. Got it? Next, coming to geography. Okay. Now geography is also termed very vaguely. Critical geographical features, world geographical features, world physical geographical features, then there is world economic resources. You are getting this? Look at the vagueness in the description of the bullet points. What book will you read? Which notes will you prepare? What is the boundary that you will put in order to create the notes? Are you seeing this? This descriptive bullet points in paper 1 is why you are perceiving the paper 1 as bulky, and it is. If you don't draw the line where to exactly stop it, it becomes bulkier. Okay. So this is where you have to have an approach. Okay. I am not going to tell that you join my course and then I will teach you the approach. I will tell you everything. Okay. There are two options. You go ahead and prepare on your own with that particular whatever tools that I tell you, or you can take my help to do it. Okay. Either ways it is fine. The agenda of this class is to remove that perception of all these things in your mind. Okay. The third thing. So the first was perceived that it is easy. The second was the syllabus is bulky. This is no perception. This is reality. Okay. This is the reality. There is no perception here because it is bulky. Why is it bulky? Because of two reasons. The descriptive bullet points and the syllabus points are vague. Okay. Now the next thing that is happening in paper 1 is scoring and not scoring. See, one thing you should remember is in all the 4 papers, GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, the scores keep wavering. I cannot tell that every year GS4 is scoring very well. Every year GS score is 120 plus. Every year GS1 is 120 plus. Every year GS3 is 70 plus. This is not true. If someone has told you this, they are playing a wrong thing with you. Okay. If you observe the scoring pattern in all the 4 GS papers, the scoring pattern keeps wavering. In some years, okay, in some years GS2 the average score will be 90, and in some years the GS4 average score will be 110. That is, if you take any people who have appeared for mains, forget the interview call or forget the people who have made the final list, any people who have written mains or got the interview call, they will be somewhere near 90. Okay, they will be somewhere near 80, and all the people who have made the final list will be somewhere near 90. Okay, in the same manner, in the same year, all the people who have not made the list will be somewhere near 100 and the toppers will be somewhere near 120, 110 to 120 plus. Are you seeing this? Fine. So one thing what you should remove is, don't base yourself in thinking that a paper, for example, I'll give you an example. See what will happen is, how this year 2023 ka paper, okay, 2023 ka marks of, if you take all the papers, forget all the papers, now GS3, the maximum, what is the score, average score that is scored in GS3 in this year's 2023 paper? Topper score. Tell me the toppers, usually the top 100 or top 1000, whoever have made the list, what is the scores that they are scoring? It is? No one has touched 100. No one has touched 100. Okay? It is 85 to 90. Topper score I am telling. That doesn't mean 2022 also it was 85 to 90. Are you understanding what I am trying to tell you? Okay? The scores keep wavering every year. So don't take the score as the base marks and you decide how much efforts you will put. Don't tell ethics, sir, this is 120 plus, so I'll put more efforts there. GS3 is 75 plus, so I'll put less efforts there. Anyways, the marks is low. GS1 I'll put more efforts because more of the people are scoring in 115 plus. GS2 I'll put less efforts because people are scoring 100 less. Don't do this. This is a wrong perception. Okay? Each year, for example, in 2023 this happened. Yes or no? In 2020, GS4, no one had scored more than 100. Are you seeing this? So it keeps changing. The scoring pattern keeps changing in different GS papers. So you allocating your interests and time on the basis of the GS paper marking pattern is very wrong. Okay? Treat every paper equally with equal emphasis. You give your best because you never know how the scaling in the GS paper works and what will get high and what will get low. That is not in your control. And you should not perceive that as well. Okay? According to you, each and every paper is important and each and every section inside that paper is also very important. According to you also, each and every paper has finite set of syllabus. You are going to make sure that finite set of syllabus is reached. That is your duty. The next is, each and every section in the paper has its own way of dealing with the question. You are going to understand that question, understand the approach to that section and deal with that section appropriately. Understanding this? So this is your job when you come to the mains paper. Okay? You don't be prejudiced. You don't have any preconceived notions of the scoring pattern, the difficulty and anything. Nothing. Everything keeps changing here. Okay? So I told you your job. Two things. Treat all the paper equally and develop an approach for every section in the paper properly. That is all you have to do. Okay? Once you do that, start writing. The more you write, the more you develop the language of the paper. Okay? So coming back to this scoring, that is what I wanted to tell. Some people say that paper 1 is scoring, some people say that paper 1 is not scoring. The reason is because few people are exposed to that year's marking pattern where this paper had not, the overall average score had come down. Few people are exposed to those years where the paper's mark is gone up. Okay? So that is one way. So don't base your any paper's emphasis on the marks. The second is, when this happens in usually people who write mains and come. Okay? The moment they write mains and come, two kinds of people come. Alright? See, paper 1 is kind of in such a way that 90% of the people who finish mains and come, you go and ask them, 90% of the people who have written mains, post GS1, they will always come back and say, they will never come back and say the paper went bad. They will always come back and say the paper went good. Two reasons. Why they come and tell paper went good? Two reasons is, one, this is the first GS paper. You are now starting your marathon. Okay? So you have all the energy. Your mind is very fresh. So you have that energy, you have put that energy, you have completed the paper. More or less most of the people will complete the paper. So you feel that you are given justice with the only assumption that you have completed the paper. Correct? That is first. The second perception that comes is, because the most of the questions overlaps with the topics of your prelims, you feel that you have written a good answer. Okay? Hence, 90% of people who finish GS1 will come and they may not tell it to others, but they will always have a good feeling that they have done justice to GS1. Okay? But when the marks comes, they'll always not feel the same thing. Though they were feeling that it was scoring, now the marks shows that they are, see, this is how the scoring is. If there is 120 plus, if the toppers are scoring 120 plus, The rest of the 90% of the crowd who do not make it to the list will fall in 95 to 105. Look at the cruelness of the exam. It is not very high. They are falling in this bracket. 90%. No one in GS1, no one will fall. You will not find anyone coming and telling you that they are scoring 70, sir. I am scoring 60, sir. No one will come. In GS2, GS3 you can find. In ethics you can find. In GS1 you don't find anyone coming with this, sir, I am scoring so less, sir. You will always find them in this bracket. Okay, and most of them will fall in this bracket. The reason why they are not able to push to this bracket is because of their perception about the paper and their lack of approach towards the paper. Okay, usually you would have also faced it if you have written mains. Tell me or not, how many people have written mains in GS1 on residual knowledge? Have anyone written mains here? You have written mains on residual knowledge? Yes or no? Are you seeing this? This happens. The reason why they are basing themselves on residual knowledge is they don't have a finite set of syllabus to revise and go. That is the first thing. The second thing is, whatever bulkiness is there in this thing, they'll think that they can somehow deal with it in whatever they know with the prelims knowledge. When you give this approach to the GS1, you will end up here. That is why, see, no one is scoring 70 because everyone knows the topic. But no one is scoring 120, I mean, not too many people are scoring 120 plus because the approach is wrong. So what happens, you will start writing mediocre answers, you will start writing average answers. This will result in somewhat mediocre marks only. That's why most of the people, because they have finished the paper, they are getting this. But starting from GS1, the moment you go to GS4, your energy is down, you are now tired. The only thing that is running in your mind is, I just want to get it over with. Let the mains get over, I don't want to do anything with it. I'll think about interview, everything later. Now I just want to get it over with. So when you go to GS3 and GS4, there different challenges come down. Though you know the topic, though you know that you can do justice to the topic, you don't have the energy to do it. Understanding this? So this game is a game of stamina. Okay, it is a game of not only your mental intellect, it is a game of your physical strength also. Okay, how much of endurance that you can undertake and still keep moving forward. So that is the game. However, coming back to the GS1, this is the problem with GS1 with respect to scoring. Okay, most of the people feel that the moment they finish the exam, they have done a good job, but when they see the marking patterns, they end up in the mediocre marks. Why is it that they are not able to push? We'll discuss. Okay, so this is the third problem with GS1. Okay, so broadly these are the three problems that we see in this paper. Okay, one is it is being perceived easy, but it is not. I mean, overall it is an easy subject, but feeling it easy because of your efforts is different. Feeling easy because of your perception is different. Okay, your efforts are less there. Your perception, thinking that it is overlapping with your syllabus, is what is making it easy. This is very dangerous. Okay, the second is it is bulky, definitely because the syllabus points are like that. The syllabus points are descriptive in nature. And the third is, though it is very scoring, it is very scoring, you should know the approach to this paper. Okay, you cannot deal with the same approach to prelims in mains. I am telling, don't read different sources. That is another mistake. The moment I tell you that GS1, though you have prelims knowledge, you should study for mains in a separate approach. It doesn't mean that in prelims, sir, I studied spectrum in modern India, now should I study Bipin Chandra? It is wrong. Okay, that is not what I mean. I don't mean that just because you have studied prelims some books, doesn't mean that you change your books for mains. This is exactly not what I mean. Okay, you have to change your approach, not your books. I am repeating it again for people who are watching it online. I do not mean books. In mains, I don't encourage my students to read more at all. Are you understanding this? So whatever I am telling is, change the approach, not the books. Use the same books. Jaidev, Balaji DK, Anirudh, everyone have cleared studying spectrum only. Understanding? They didn't study any Bipin Chandra, they didn't study anything big books. You understanding this? So please don't think that Sir has told that it will not work, so I am going to do something different. No. Your approach should change, but not your books. Your books are enough. Got this? So this is about the GS1. Hope you got the gist of this. However, so coming to this, after scaring you so much, let me now tell you the good things about GS1. Okay, that is what I told. Books are the same. That is, you don't have to study anything new. Okay, for Bipin Chandra, for geography, some new books, nothing. Okay, it is all the same. Whatever you studied for prelims, the same books you can study for mains. Okay, that is the first thing. The second is whatever you have not studied. Okay, let us say that society, post independence, and world history. Whatever you have not studied. Okay, here society is actually a very easy subject because society can be dealt with issue based. Okay, it is an issue based bullet point. So the more and more issues you cover, you will more or less finish society. As I have already told you, you have population, urbanization, women issues, regionalism, secularism, communalism. So if it is finite, it is not, no one will read one full book on regionalism, yes or no? If you sit for half a day and if you type regionalism, you can take definitions, you can take is regionalism good for democracy, you can take is regionalism threat for democracy, you can take examples of regionalism that has strengthened democracy in India, you can take example of regionalism that has actually threatened the democracy in India. Like that you can create a finite set of sources. So regionalism is done, irrespective of whatever question they ask on that, you will be able to write a good answer on that. So when the society is issue based, preparing for society is very easy. Okay, the next is these two. Okay, now the weightage of this is very low. Alright, we will discuss the weightage also. I will go, I'll show you the previous year questions and then we will go to the weightage of marks of different sections. Then I'll show you how the weightage is. The more you realize the weightage of these two, the greater you will neglect these two. You understanding this? And somehow if you neglect these two only, it is better. But I am not telling you to outrightly leave these subjects. I am only telling you, you should know the importance of these two subjects. Okay, so when you know the importance of these two subjects, you will know how much of efforts is to be put for these two subjects. Alright, now let us assume that for some reason, one fine day, UPSC decided to change the pattern and UPSC gave 5 questions from post independence and 5 questions from world history. Okay, so what you should have prepared yourself is, you will not let go of post independence and world history. What you will do is, you would have read one summary book on post independence and one summary book on world history, and that summary book should not exceed more than 60 pages. Okay, now what is the scenario? The scenario is, let us assume that on one fine year UPSC decided to give you a shock in GS1 and it put 5 questions of post independence and world history. You should not be taken aback. You should not feel that attempt only is gone. Okay, so if they are asking 5 questions and if these 5 questions are conventional topics, if these 5 questions are conventional topics, obviously you have read it in this summary book, you will be able to write an answer to it. So you are not losing the game. Understanding this? Now let us assume another scenario where these 5 questions are coming from unconventional topics. Okay, so what will happen then? You will not be able to answer because you don't have the depth to answer because you have studied only the summary book. Alright, but will you lose the game? Will you lose the game here? Why are you telling no? Because no, this is the game of, it is not the game of absolute. Okay, that is, you see, if they are asking 5 questions from post independence, 5 questions from world history and all the 5 questions are unconventional questions, will you suffer or will all the people writing mains suffer? Then why are you worried about it? Are you understanding this? This is a game of relative. Why are you worried about your performance? What you should have very good idea is, if you are being a sincere candidate, put in your efforts and study it properly, and if you are suffering from answering that question, you should realize that everyone who is writing mains is suffering from answering that question. The moment you realize that, correct, your pressure comes down, you will not seek to get 8 out of 10 in that unconventional question. What is your objective to get? 3 to 4 out of 10. Because you know that everyone else will be scoring 2 to 3 out of 10. So your aim is to get 1 extra mark out of everyone and not perfect answer out of everyone. You understanding this? That is the game. The moment you realize that game, you will never come under the pressure of, oh, this is a difficult question, oh, this is a difficult paper. Because if it is a difficult question, it's difficult for everyone. If it's a difficult paper, it's difficult for everyone. You understanding this? In the same logic applies here also. Yes or no? Do you think people who are writing mains will study big books for world history and post-independence? They don't have the time to do it. Why they don't have the time to do it? Because they have to put efforts on other things. Because other things have higher weightage. You understanding this? So when they put efforts there, the time is less. So what will they do for post-independence and world history? They are going to read the summary books. So they will have the same superficial knowledge as you have in this subject. So if UPSC wants to give a shock, it is not going to give a shock to you separate or alone, it is going to give shock for everyone. So who is the winner there? The winner is a person who can hold their nerve and who can do the best of whatever they can to this unconventional topics with whatever little that they have studied. That's what I told. People who will do well is people who are aiming to get that 1 mark or 0.5 mark extra compared to others. If you are sitting in that exam trying to write an answer for these unconventional topics, thinking that I am going to write an answer in such a way somehow, I am going to think, I am going to dig my head, I am going to take more point and get at least a 6 out of 10, the time that you take to do that, you have lost the game. You understanding this? So this is all how the game is going to be played. Okay, that is, see, one single question. Whenever the moment I say, sir, whenever I say read summary books for these two, the next question that comes is, sir, what if questions does not come from that? That's why I am telling you this thing. The questions does not come from that, no one will be able to answer. Why are you worried about it? And few people coming from history optional can answer it. That is not an issue at all. Okay, because your game is not with the few minority. Understanding this? So this is how the game has to be played. So the first is books are the same. Society is a very simple and very easy topic which we will be dealing with. Post-independence and world history should always be dealt with a summary book. Don't try to read big books like I will study Ramchandra Guha, India after independence. Don't go for all those things. Read summary books. Okay, that summary book should not exceed more than 65 pages, because if it is 65 pages, you can read it at least 10 times. Okay, so the more and more you read the conventional topics of post-independence and world history, let them ask you anything, let them ask you on unconventional. If you are very strong with that conventional topics in post-independence and world history, you will easily get 4 out of 10. And this is all we are aiming for, if it is coming as a difficult question. If the question comes directly from conventional topics, you will exactly write what it is. But if they ask you unconventional also, you should be able to get at least 4 out of 10. So this is the overall ideology with books and, the easiness of the paper, the first and the second. Okay. The third is the interlinkage of topics. There is very high interlinkage of topics in GS1. Okay. For example, if they are talking about, this is a question that is asked in UPSC. Why is India considered as a subcontinent? Why is India considered as a subcontinent? Now, which part will it fall under? What will you consider this question? Is it falling in society? Is it falling in geography? What is this? Geography? Correct. Can it fall in history? Can it fall in culture? Can it fall in society? See, are you seeing this? And you have to approach that way only. You're getting it? Don't think that just because you are feeling that this question is coming from geography, I have to take only geography. But don't bring governance. Don't bring polity. Don't bring internal security. Don't bring environment. Okay, then it becomes irrelevant to the paper. Okay, but you can talk about the historical angles. You can talk about the cultural angles. You can talk about the geographical angles. You can definitely talk about climatological angles. Seeing this, like that interlinkage is very high. Okay, I'll ask you one more question. India gig economy and women. Okay, yes, this question at a broader level is coming from society, but is it necessary for you to stick to only society? Can you talk about the temporal approach to India and gig economy? Pre-COVID, post-COVID, you can give an aspect of that, yes or no? So you are bringing historical angle into it. That is temporal approach. History is nothing but temporal approach. It's a wrong thing that whenever I say history, you should go back to freedom struggle or you should go back to ancient India. History means temporal approach. Geography means spatial approach. Okay. If I take any phenomena, the phenomena may be X. If I take this phenomena and if I analyze that phenomena over time, it becomes history. If I take this phenomena and analyze over space, it becomes geography. Okay. That phenomena need not be always ancient or medieval or modern India. If I take urbanization, if I look at the growth of urbanization in India from 1920 to let us 2023, it becomes history, temporal approach. But if I draw the India map and if I show you what is the urbanization percentage in different states, it becomes geography. You're getting it? So when I say India and gig economy and women, need not be that you have to stick only to the social angle. You talk about the temporal approach of this. Alright, then you talk about the spatial aspects of this also. Where is gig economy happening? Can you show it in the India map? See, that becomes a spatial approach. You're getting it? So the point is, this interlinkage of topics, the scope to interlinkage topics is very, very high. In paper 3, let us take, if they are talking about border issues, can you bring agriculture there? No, right? Can you bring economy there? Are you seeing this? The interlinking in paper 2 and paper 3 is very less. But in paper 1, the interlinkage is very, very high. You can put every knowledge that you have in every section and write a very good answer there. Understanding this? So this is another approach that will create that extra 10 to 15 marks why toppers score well. Understanding this? So this is the advantage. Okay. The next is history. Okay. This is what is going to create your differential. Everyone in this country are thinking that society and geography, okay, and it is true also. Unfortunately, what they are thinking is society and geography. Okay, geography 100 question comes, and society 75 questions. 100 marks comes, and society 75 marks come. Okay, so this is the overall division of marks. I'll show it to you in the PPT. I'll show it to you later, but this is only to make my point. This is 100 marks geography. You get 8 questions. Okay, 4 into 10 marker and 4 into 15 marker. Okay, here it is 4 into 10 marker. It is 3 into 15 marker. Something like that. Okay, so this is the overall marking pattern. All right. So 3 into 10 marker. Sorry, 3 into 10 marker and 3 into 15 marker. So this is the overall marking pattern. So everywhere there is so much of emphasis that this is where I am talking about differential. I am not talking about scoring. This is definitely scoring. I am under any circumstances not denying that these are not scoring. Obviously it is scoring. 175 marks out of 250 is coming only from 2 sections. Scoring is definitely there. Here you cannot take a risk. Here you have to be perfect. There is no one denying that fact. As I told you, there are 2 groups of students. One is 95 to 105. This is one group. This is the majority of people who are writing mains in GS1. Another is 120 plus. Okay. Now both this group are very good in this too. That is what I am trying to tell you. Both these two are going to answer all the questions of geography. They are going to answer all the questions of society. So where is it that the differential is getting created? Where is it that that extra 15 marks is getting pulled? Is how we are going to approach history. This no one will teach. The reason why no one will teach is because it is very difficult to teach. You are getting it? Because when I say history, it means 4 things: ancient, medieval, modern India, and everything mixed together is known as history. Okay. Now this you should have prepared in such a way that if you sit in the morning and if you study from morning 6 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock, all the 4 should get over. That should be the approach. As I told you, I will tell you the approach. I am not going to keep anything secret. Okay. This is the approach, but this is what it has to be. In the morning if you sit, by the evening 6 o'clock, if you finish only ancient also it is wrong. If you finish only medieval also it is wrong. You finish Nitin Singhania income also it is wrong. If you finish only spectrum also it is wrong. You should be able to finish the entire ancient up to the medieval, modern India and art and culture in just one day. I am not telling tomorrow only it will happen. You make sure that you make so many of the iterations in such a way that it will happen. That is 1 week before the mains exam. 1 week before the mains, you should have got the competency to finish all the 4 in just 1 day. If you got that, that means you have achieved that proficiency, and you will definitely create the differential. Okay, for me this is the differential. Why in my course people have scored well, why in my course there was a national topper in this country, is only because of this. Because these also I have taught, but the point is this, even if I have not taught, you people will go and study. Understanding this? How my students create differential, how my students consistently score proficiently very well in GS1 is mainly because of history. Okay, it is because of the approach that we have designed in such a way that you will be able to do this. Ancient, medieval, modern India and art and culture in just 1 day is possible only with this. Now the point is, the more and more you do this, you will be able to address the dynamicity in the questions that are asked in history. If you feel that you will study R.S. Sharma and then you will see medieval mein NCERT, modern India mein spectrum, and then Nitin Singhania in culture, to finish this 4 only will take 10 days. Okay, according to me, when you are preparing for mains, no GS paper should be given more than 6 days. I am telling, if you are revising GS, any GS paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, you should be able to complete the entire revision of the GS paper in only 6 days. You are getting it? So you should build up the proficiency. When I say proficiency, with notes also, you should build up your notes in such a way that you should be able to revise the entire GS paper in only 6 days. Sir, what if I don't complete? It's okay. If you are able to complete in 6 days 1 GS paper, getting it? In 24 days you will be able to complete 1 cycle. So let us say that you are going to write 4 tests. After every GS paper you are going to write 1 test. So 4 days, 4 tests. This is your 1 round. Okay, take 1 day to introspect or 2 days to introspect what has happened, course correct yourself, go back to the next cycle, 24 plus 4. Go back to the next cycle, 24 plus 4. You have finished 3 cycles in 3 months. Let us say there is one person who has finished GS1 in 20 days, GS2 in 20 days, GS3 in 20 days, GS4 in 20 days. How many days? 80 days. Revision is not yet happened. They have only finished and gone. Who will be in a better position now? You are understanding this? Obviously this person. So this should be ideally your strategy. Okay, don't give too many days trying to strive for perfection. Perfection will come only through iterations. Sir, what about those questions that I write in the test which is not there in my notes? Valid question, correct? So sir, my notes is there. I created a finite set of notes. I revise my notes and go and sit in the exam. But when I sit in the exam, there are 3 to 5 questions which I cannot answer from the notes. It's fine. Whatever you can answer and make up an answer for those 5 questions, you try to make it up. If you don't, or if you can't answer, then it is fine, not an issue. But what you should do consciously is, take the synopsis, go to that 5 concepts which you couldn't answer, learn properly those concepts and bring it back to your notes. Isn't your notes enriched now? 1. 2. When you are bringing back to your notes, first you are studying it from the synopsis and you are going to only bring back to the notes not more than 200 words. Not more than 200 words. So this is the approach. That is why my strategy to my students always is, first is read your base material. Once you are done with the base material, you write and then you relearn and you write and then you relearn and then you write and then you relearn, and you keep doing this until you reach your mains exam. That's all. Reading is over. Once you finish that, that is the end of it. Yes, you will be revising it here, you will be revising it here, that will keep happening. But that is the end of your reading. Reading is far, it is once you are done with it, you are done with it, that's all. Once you get exposed to an idea, for example, you realize what is self-help group. What more you want? You have realized what is self-help group. You know the current status of self-help group. You know the challenges, the drawbacks and the government initiatives. That's all. That is your base material on it. What more do you want to read there? Understanding this? So once you are done with the base material, don't try to achieve perfection here. The perfection will never come here. This is where the bulkiness will increase. So usually people have 100, 500, 600 page notes for GS1, 600 notes page for GS2, 300 page for GS3, like that they usually have. That is a very wrong strategy. You're getting it? Not more than 100 to 150 pages. I told you, right, 6 days, not more than 6 days to revise one paper. That too, this should go down. As in, for example, if you're studying for the 5th time, you should not give 6 days, you should give only 3 days. You're getting it? So like that you have to cut it down. But overall, let us say that 6 days. So this is the overall approach. Okay. So coming back to summarize why this paper is easy. The one is books are the same. Don't try to do anything different. You can study, I mean you can write good answers by reading the same books that you have done for prelims. The only thing is the change in the approach. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. The next is whichever you are thinking is difficult is actually not difficult. Whatever insecurity you have over these topics, remove that insecurity. Because one, society is important but is easy. Because it is issue based bullet points. World history and post independence is difficult but the weightage is very low. So your job is to make sure that you are well versed with conventional topics. If they are asking you what is examine the freedom struggle in West Africa, you think anyone will write an answer to it? Then why are you worried about it? It was asked. It was asked and students next year came and asked me, sir, how do I study for this? My question is, why do you want to study for this? Are you understanding this? It is a game of relative, then why are you worried? If they ask, examine the freedom struggle in Indo-Malaya, who will answer Indo-Malaya? But if they are asking you what are the consequences of World War II, if they are asking you what happened between World War II and World War I and World War II, if they are asking what is happening, what was the reasons for Cold War, then if you miss out, that means it is wrong. Because they are all conventional topics. Understanding? If they are asking French Revolution, you have to be very good. So conventional topics, you make sure that you are well versed with it. Unconventional topics, you let it go. Because it is not worth your time. This makes the paper, once you get this paradigm shift in your outlook, this becomes very easy. The paper 1 becomes very easy. The third is, you have to develop the interlinkage of topics. This comes with a lot of writing. That's why, read less, write more. Read less, write more. The more you do that in GS1, you will start interlinking. History should not be seen as history. History should be seen as just temporal distribution of events. Geography should not be seen as science. Geography should be seen as spatial distribution of a phenomena. Correct? Once you see that, you can put all this history, geography and society into every answer that they ask in GS1. Okay? The next is this. The third is, the last one is, people think they can create differential with society and geography. They cannot, but they have to be good at it. They have to be good at society and geography because 175 marks out of 250 comes from society and geography. So there is no scope for you to lose marks in society and geography. However, you cannot neglect history because it is history that will create your differential. Got it? 3 questions will come. Either it is 1 10 marker and 2 15 markers, or 3 questions will come with 2 10 markers and 1 15 marker. Okay? On an average, you can keep it as 45 marks. Okay? You have to develop a skill to get at least 20 out of 45. If you get that, you will easily get the differential. The reason why I am telling you this with so confident is, most of the students who are going to write mains will screw up their history because they are going to read bulky books. Okay? Most of them. All those smart people who are going to read history, who have created that summary notes and they are put in the efforts for mains, they are going to get extra marks in history. Okay? And it is always that history. So when the examiner is correcting, let us say that the question is, there are 3 questions. Okay? One question is talking about cyclones. Another question is talking about gig economy. Another question is talking about the Mauryas and Guptas. No, let us say fragmented polity in 17th century. Fragmented polity in 17th century. All these are questions asked in UPSC only. Okay. So let us say that these are the 3 questions asked. People who are writing mains. How many people do you think will write a above average answer to this? Almost 90%, 95%. How many people will write an average answer to this? Because above average is less here. You have to put some application of mind, application of GS1 language. That if you know the approach you can put. But on an average answer, 95% of the people will write here. how many people will write an answer here? I am telling, forget average, forget above average. How many people will even write an answer here? It is very, very less. So now you tell me, when you write an answer here, are you not creating a differential? Yes or no? So here, let us say a person has written average and above average answer. So the differential between average and above average is 1 mark. Here, everyone have written average answer, but few have written above average. The differential is 0.5 marks. Here, most of them have screwed up the answer, but you have written an answer. The differential is 4 marks. Are you seeing this? So when you do this for 3 questions, it comes up to almost 12 marks. This is how differential is created in GS1. This is why my students always get good marks. Forget normal marks, everyone will get normal marks. They will always get good marks in GS1. Got this? This is the secret to GS1. I am telling you openly in YouTube. Okay, I am going to teach you the approach. Okay, I am not going to give you the approach in YouTube, then things will go wrong. Okay, but I am definitely going to teach you the approach of what needs to be done. Okay, so this is about the approach, the advantages and the disadvantages to GS1. Got this, guys? Okay, fine. Let me address the online guys a little bit. Mayur Azarika scored 102 in GS3. See, so that is what. So someone has messaged Mayur Azarika has scored 102 in GS3. Okay, so what do you want me to tell? I am really sorry that I am wrong. It is not about 1 or 2 outliers. That is the problem. The problem is you are so hell-bent on seeing that exception and outliers. You are so hell-bent upon seeing the negatives. You don't want to see the positives. Are you getting this? So, okay, 1 or 2 people will score. I am never bothered about the outliers. But look at the toppers. Okay, look at the other toppers. Has everyone scored more than 105, 102? You are understanding this? Don't look at outliers. Okay? It is not about getting me wrong and proving something. Are you understanding this? It is about trying for you to learn and score good marks and go from here. Got it? Sir, my classes are still going on with society and world history. Will it be right if I join IBC now? Prajwal, I would not encourage you to join IBC if your classes are still going on. What are the conventional topics for world history and post-independence? Conventional topics, that is what, see, that also I will tell you now. In the GS1, I have created a document for world history. Okay, so you can use that document that is of 65 pages, that has all the conventional topics in it. Okay, and for post-independence, for people who don't want to, for people either ways, for post-independence you can take Vision. Vision IAS has a summary document of 65 pages. You can read that Vision ka document of summary of post-independence has almost all the conventional topics. Okay, so I hope you can read that. Okay. Alright, so this is about the approach to GS1. Now let us come to the PPT. We will just discuss about the questions that have come. Okay, what are the 2 things that you should observe? The first is, in the topics that overlap with the prelims, how the questions are coming. The second is, in the topics that do not overlap with your prelims, how the questions are coming. Okay, these are the 2 things, because your approach to those topics that overlap with your prelims is different, and the approach to those topics that are not there in your prelims is different. Correct? So let us see this. So broadly you have geography, society, modern India, ancient, medieval and culture, post-independence and world history. So this is more or less the syllabus of GS1. Okay. First, let us we'll go in this order only. First, we will look at the geography's previous year questions. The next is society previous year questions, modern India previous year question. Now, try to be as interactive as possible when you are discussing the question. Okay, I want you to ask me questions or you to give me your opinion. you to tell me what challenges you face, so that it should be interactive. Okay, it should not be a monologue where I only keep talking everything about it, because that eventually will happen when I am teaching the class. So the more you ask questions and I clear the questions, it will be helpful, beneficial for everyone who is watching the class. Okay, so let us look at the previous year questions and go. Now the geography, I will start with the syllabus of geography. Alright, so in geography the questions that are asked is, in 2022 they ask, usually in geography they are asking 8 questions, correct, 4 for 10 markers and 4 15 markers, correct. So let us just look at the question. The first is, describe the characteristics and types of primary rocks. Okay, is this easy question or a difficult question? Correct, they are talking about, talk about igneous rocks and give us some characteristics of them. Next, discuss the meaning of color coded weather warning for cyclone prone areas given by Indian Meteorological Department. Okay, they are not asking about cyclones, but what are they asking for? The color coded warning for cyclones. Okay, now this was there in the newspaper 1.5 to 2 months back to your mains exam. Okay, so this, now 2 things happen. Overall, if you have not studied newspaper, this becomes a difficult question, because here you cannot handle or use your common sense and write. It is pretty direct. They are asking you, give me the color code, so you have to give the color code. Understanding this? So here, if you have not read the newspaper, it becomes difficult. If you have read the newspaper, it has come consistently in the top pages or in the front pages, so it becomes an easy question. Okay, so the point that I am going to make here is, reading newspaper is a mandatory for mains exam. You are getting, understanding this? Please develop the habit to read newspapers. Okay, now when I tell read newspapers, newspaper gives 2 things. Newspaper gives you news, newspaper will also give you issues. You understanding this? Now news is different, issues is different. Issues means what is happening in Manipur is an issue. What is happening in North India, the relentless rainfall, is an issue. Uniform civil code is an issue. They have come up with Chandrayaan 3, this is an issue. Okay, so issues is something that you have to follow, and issues are very finite. You understanding this? When you talk about news, news is not finite, it is everything that is there in the newspaper other than issues. For example, someone won some Arjuna award, that is a news. Someone won something somewhere, that is a news. You are understanding this? So everything else becomes news, and this news is very important for prelims. Now when I tell you to read newspaper, I mean don't follow news. It is very difficult for you to track news every day. Okay, but it is very easy for you to track issues every day. Okay, and yes, it is imperative that you track issues. For example, this time Manipur issue will definitely come. In internal security, Manipur issue will definitely come. They may ask about Khalistani extremism that is happening outside India, because in India there is not an issue. So it is usually not asked as an internal security issue, it is asked in international geopolitics issue. So in GS2 there are high chances for it to come, not in GS3. You understanding this? The next is talking about same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage will definitely come, that is an issue, but they will not ask you in GS2 because it is still sub judice. There are still issues happening there. Why are they going to ask you in GS2 when they themselves have not yet decided it? But where will it come? GS1. Social angle. What is the society and its opinion and your opinion about it? Are you seeing this? Tracking an issue is mandatory if you want to get good marks in mains. So reading newspapers is very important. So start reading newspapers. Okay, and the next thing that you will get is, sir, what about the previous issues that I have missed out? As I have already told you, issues are finite, and issues keep rotating again and again and again. Are you getting this? So let us say that you have missed out on SEO. In all the articles that has come before, SEO will come again. In the next 3 to 4 months, SEO articles will again come. Are you getting it? So issues come like this. The issues will peak. Peak means for the next 5 days, article will be written only on that. Then the issues will ebb. Then it will be in the ebb. Again it will peak. So the issues are finite. Only thing is it will keep peaking, it will keep ebbing. Understanding this? So follow these issues. And disaster management, whatever comes, obviously becomes an issue. Understanding this? So this is in that way. So if you have read the newspaper, it becomes easy, otherwise it becomes difficult. The next, discuss the natural resource potentials of Deccan Trap. Where do you put this? Direct question. I know it is geography. It is direct question. Deccan Trap. If you know about Deccan Trap, you can answer this question. The next is, examine the potential of wind energy in India and explain the reasons for their limited spatial spread. Easy or difficult? Examine the potential of wind energy in India and explain the reasons for their limited spatial spread. What is it? Moderate. Okay, we'll put it in moderate, but this is an easy question. Okay. Now, can you not draw the India map? Yes. Can you show where all the potential of wind energy is high in India? Now, in mains, it is not like prelims. In mains, sir, what if I put Madhya Pradesh and what if Madhya Pradesh is not there in the actual potential? This is not prelims. They are not going to mark it wrong and they are not going to put 0. You are understanding this? There is always a scope for flexibility in mains. Let us say you are showing Rajasthan and you are showing Gujarat and you don't know if Madhya Pradesh is there, but you are showing Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh is there first of all, but let us assume that it was not there and you have shown it. They will not cut marks. You have that leverage. Okay, because at a broader level you should be conceptually right. They are not going to sit there and tick, oh okay, Andhra Pradesh, yes, Telangana, yes, oh this, no, wrong. It doesn't happen like that. Okay, broader level they are going to look at the map and they are going to understand what are the potential wind energy sites. Okay, now coming back to the limitation. If you put an heading limitation, okay, and then if you write, one thing is electricity generation, another thing is evacuation, lack of eye energy, eye evacuation, this thing, that becomes GS3. You understanding this? Land acquisition is becoming, that becomes GS3. Okay, but if you change that point, and I told you what is this paper? Geography. What is geography? The definition of geography? Spatial. You analyze anything spatially, it becomes geography. Correct? So you take that question and you talk, okay, what is the limitations in Northwest India? What is the limitations in Central India? And what is the limitations in South India? This becomes geographical. Okay, so if you add the same whatever GS3 points you had in your mind, if you segregate it this way and write Northwest India, Central India and South India, doesn't it become geographical? That's all. Now, is the question difficult? You just show the India map, then talk about different regions and then discuss about the challenges there. That's all, the answer is done. You are understanding this? Now, if you are expecting that you should have studied a book and in that book they should have given a wind energy potential and they should have given the book talking about the limitation, then you have lost the game there itself. This is the differential you have to change. Okay, the approach you have to change. Don't expect any question in GS1 to come from the book. It will never come. You will get to know now as we keep traversing through the year-long this thing. Not only geography in all the papers. I told you, read the same books, but the questions will not come from that in that way. Are you understanding this? If they ask you what are cyclones, examine the characteristics of cyclones. Everyone who is appearing for mains will write a very good answer for that. The second is, how will be it test of competency? It will never be a test of competency. Are you understanding this? So whatever they ask in mains is an application of what you have studied from the books. It always is. Okay, so this is like an application. You know what is wind energy, you know what is the potential of wind energy, you know what are the challenges of wind energy, but use that knowledge to make it geographical. That is what they are asking you to do. Okay, so make it geographical. Whenever they ask you in GS1, make it geographical. The same question asked in GS3, make it environmental. So that is the challenge. If you feel that you have to improve your knowledge on wind energy itself, you will lose the game. With whatever finite knowledge you have, try to change it to that language regarding the demand of the question. That's all. That is your job. That is all the mains exam is. Got it? Fine. What are the forces that influence ocean currents? Describe their role in fishing industry of the world. Basics or difficult? Basics, right? Good. Describing the distribution of rubber producing countries, indicate the major environmental issues faced by them. What is this? Describe the distribution of rubber producing countries, indicate the major environmental issues faced by them. What is this? Is this, the point is when I say what is this, is it a difficult question, moderate question, or an easy question? Will you study in any book the distribution of rubber producing countries? So, from what will you extract points for this answer? Tell me the topic in the book from which you will extract the answer. Correct. So, which topic will overlap with this? Which topic? Not weather, climate. Okay. The world climatic types. In that world climatic types, you have studied equatorial type. Equatorial type is mainly producing plantations, especially rubber. So put the same thing here. The distribution of rubber producing countries are nothing but the distribution of equatorial type of climatic countries. Now obviously, you know the disadvantages of plantation agriculture. Yes or no? The same disadvantages of plantation agriculture, you bring it and tell what are the major environmental issues faced by them. Your answer is over. Understand? This smartness should come. But if you feel that I did not read the book on rubber producing countries, you will never read the book for whatever next questions will come. You are understanding this? You will always feel that why is it that the questions are always coming outside the book? Understanding? So don't have that expectation itself. This is application, but easy question. Okay. Next, mention the significance of straits and isthmus in international trade. What is this? Easy or difficult? First of all, it does not come in basics. It is application. That is the first thing. The second is, you should have a list of 20 keywords in geography. Irrespective of what they ask, you should be able to use that keywords. Okay. The keywords can be, for example, accessibility, availability, innovation, diffusion, okay, decentralization, alright, agglomeration. Are you getting it? Inertia, geographical inertia. So like that you should have around 20 to 25 keywords that is ready for you. Okay. Now with that keyword, such type of economic geographical questions should be answered using the keyword. So the keyword should form the base to to elaborate the answers here. So with isthmus and straits, what will be the availability? What will be the mobility? What will be the accessibility? What will be the growth points? What will be the agglomeration effects? What will be the diffusions? Are you seeing this? So when you keep the keywords and analyze this, it becomes easier. I'll give you another question, see. See, despite India being one of the countries of the Gondwana land, okay, its mining industry contributes much less to GDP in percentage. What is it telling? Gondwana land means it should be highly rich in minerals. Though it is rich in minerals, why is it that its percentage to GDP is very low? That is the question. Now if you start writing GS3 answer, you will not get marks here. Okay, so how will you write this answer? You will write this answer first talking about what exactly is Gondwana land and what are the minerals available in Gondwana land. That is done. So now, why is our percentage to GDP low? This is where the answer comes and you make it geographical. How are you making it geographical now? You are going to use keywords. Yes, what you are telling is correct. Okay, the quality of coal is comparatively younger to the contemporary world coal. All this is right. That comes in the elaboration of the point. How will you make it geographical? You are going to make it geographical through keywords. Your point is the keyword of availability of raw materials. When you talk about the availability of raw materials, that is different. When you talk about the quality of raw materials, that is different. When you talk about the diffusion of innovation and technology, that is different. When you talk about entrepreneurship, that is different. You have to talk using these keywords. When you use these keywords to elaborate the same points with the same knowledge you have, then it becomes geographical. Understanding this? So when you develop the habit to use keywords to elaborate answers here, the answers automatically will become geographical. Otherwise it will seem there is no difference between GS3 answer and a GS1 answer. Got this? So this is that is what one thing I wanted to make it clear. So okay, we are done with this. The next one, Troposphere is a very significant atmospheric layer that determines weather processes. How? Is this easy or difficult? For my students, it will definitely be easy. Okay, that is my students as in people who have attended my geography program, as in the OGP people. Correct? Direct question. I have always told you why troposphere acts as atmospheric lid. Why isn't it that the weather phenomena never goes out? Why is it that all the cloud, every weather phenomena is all confined to the troposphere? That is what you have to analyze here. Got it? Fine. So, basics. Keep this high. Whenever I tell basics, this is basics. Okay? This is economic geography. This is, it seems like it is application, but it is actually basics. If you know the world climatic types, it is basics. Okay? Now look at this. Whenever they say describe their role in fishing industry in the world, they are expecting you to talk about Laurentian climate here, where there is meeting of warm ocean current and cold ocean. They are mainly talking about this. Okay, so this question is basics. Next, okay, this is application. I'll give it to you. This is application. Okay, let us assume that it is moderate to difficult, but it should not be. But okay, this is basics. Deccan trap. Okay, this is difficult. Provided that you have not read the paper, otherwise it should be easy, but let us take it as difficult. This is easy, basics. Now in this question, are you seeing how many questions are coming from basics? You are getting it? In geography, your basic conceptual understanding should be very good. Okay, so the point is, irrespective of you subscribe to this program or not program, you will not be able to score good marks if your geography basics is weak. Okay, and I have already told you 100 marks come from geography. Out of 100 marks, more or less 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can take 4 to 5 questions are coming only from basics. If you know basics very well, you can actually master geography questions. Okay, so let us just now glance about different things. Differentiate the causes of landslide. This is 2021. Differentiate the causes of landslides in the Himalayan region and Western Ghats. Easy or difficult? Can you show the map? Show Himalayan regions, show Western Ghats. Okay, that is when you show the map. That is all. Now one more thing, don't draw the map just to show where Himalayas is and where Western Ghats is. That is demeaning the examiner. Okay, when that examiner looks at it and there is nothing there, then it is actually not correct. Okay, so when you are showing the landslide regions in let us say Himalayas, you demarcate and add some value to it. Okay, for example, you tell Karakoram, you tell Kumaon Himalayas, you tell Sikkim Himalayas, you talk about Assam Himalayas, Purvanchal. Something you have to show a value addition. When you go to even Western Ghats, talk about Northern Sahyadris, talk about Central Sahyadris, talk about the Southern Mountain Complex. Otherwise, just drawing the map, oh, this is Himalayas, that is Western Ghats, you will not get marks. Okay, you have to give some type of value addition to that diagram. Okay, but easy, very easy question. Next, okay, despite India being one of the countries of Gondwana, it's mining. According to people, it is difficult. According to me, it is coming from economic geography, and economic geography is the most easiest topic in geography, because economic geography is a play of keywords. Okay, that Isthmus and Straits is a play of keywords. This question is a play of keywords. Anyways, for your sake, I am going to take it as moderate question. Next, what are the environmental implications of reclamation of water bodies into urban land use? Explain with examples. What is this? Easy? Now, okay, one it is easy. Which part of geography will this fall? That realization is important for you. Which part does this fall? What are the environmental implications of reclamation of water bodies in urban land use? This question is coming in the context of increasing urban floods. Okay, but that is not the only perception that you will give here. But which part will it fall under? This will come under environmental geography. Okay, as you go back for 5 years of analysis, you will see that one question will always be put from environmental angle. They can talk about the interlinkage of rivers. They have asked this. They have asked about the decreasing mangrove cover and the importance of mangroves in India. Okay, so these questions come under the topic called environmental geography. Okay, so you should be ready in your mind that one question will come from environmental geography. I should know how to deal with it. Got it? Next. The next is mention the global occurrence of volcanic eruptions in 2021 and their impact on regional environment. Okay. Now, one difficulty what they are doing is they are asking you to mention the occurrences. There, maximum you will know one occurrence. Okay, maximum you will know the occurrence of Indonesia, but you will not have the occurrence that happens in the other plate boundaries. Okay, for example, it may be in Philippines or it may be in Japan, you will not have an idea because in the newspapers they are not that highlighted. Okay, so that makes the question very difficult, but mention its impact is very easy. Okay, you can mention it very easily. So it is kind of a moderate question. This first part is a little difficult to actually address. You should have the data with you, otherwise you cannot. Alright, so that is one. The next is, why is India considered as a subcontinent? You are getting it? Here it's a mix of everything. Got it? Fine. Briefly mention the alignment of major mountain regions of the world and explain their impact on weather conditions. What is this question? Difficult or easy? Now see, they are making the question very broad and very infinite. Yes or no? When they say briefly mention the alignment of major mountain ranges of the world, on one side you have Rockies, Andes, Alps, Himalayas. You also have Atlas Mountains, you also have Urals, you also have Ethiopian Islands, you also have Brazilian Islands, you also have Aravallis. Are you seeing this? You also have Scandinavian mountains. You have plethora of mountains to write. So what are you going to write? Whenever you face this dilemma, whenever they create a very broad level questions, you create your own finite boundary. Otherwise, your answers will not be structurized. For example, if I talk, I will just talk about how fold mountains are formed in the world. That is my introduction. Then I will talk about different types of fold mountains. There can be fold mountains that is Precambrian. There are fold mountains that are Ursian. There are fold mountains that are Caledonian. And finally, there are fold mountains that are tertiary. Then I will tell the tertiary fold mountains are the Himalayas, Andes, Rockies, Alps. Then I will give the subheading the alignment of major mountains and talk about only the mountains that I know. If you are going to segregate the mountains, Precambrian, Ursian, Caledonian and tertiary, you will not generate points. Now you may come to me and ask me, sir, I segregated that way, I could not generate points, hence I lost the marks. That is your fault. Have they told you to segregate it that way? They are giving you the leverage to segregate. They are giving you the leverage to classify. So you classify. And you classify according to what you know. Because I know tertiary mountain system very well, I will classify the alignment on the basis of only tertiary mountains. So accordingly, first I will talk about Himalayas. I will tell how Himalayas are configured from from west to east. And then I will talk about the weather conditions, how Himalayas plays a role. Then I will go to Rockies. I will talk about how Rockies is configured. Then I will talk about, what shall I talk about it? Give me something of Rockies and weather conditions. Have you heard Chinook? Talk about that. Over. Then I will go to Andes. When I go to Andes, it is also configured north to south. Tell me one weather condition related to it. Think of world climatic type, guys, you will get the answer. Patagonia desert you have heard. Why is that a desert? Because it is that's all, rain shadow area of Andes. See, Alps. Go to Alps. How is it aligned? You talk. And then you show. Tell me one weather condition associated with Alps. Have you heard FON? FOHN. That's all. See, you are done with the answer. And show one world map showing all the mountain ranges in the world. There, if you want, you show off to the examiner that I know so much. So see, sir. Okay, you show the Ursian mountains, the Caledonian mountains, you show whatever mountains you want. But overall, answer should be like this. Whenever they give you a very broad level question, they are not giving you a broad level question, they are asking you to create the boundary. So you people have the leverage to create the boundary. So create the boundary with a very high smartness on the points that you know. Don't assume that just because I am going to create a boundary like this, I am going to lose out marks. You will not. How will the examiner cut marks? Because they are not specifying anything. You getting this? So this is how you have to approach this. This question is easy. Okay, next one. How do the melting of the Arctic ice and the glaciers of Antarctic differently affect the weather patterns and human activities on the earth? Okay. Now see, this question is difficult for one reason. If they just asked, examine the role of cryosphere in altering the climate patterns of the world. This is easy. Cryosphere means all the polar ice cap regions, correct? So then you can answer easily. Now look at this. They are asking how do the melting of the Arctic ice and the glaciers of the Antarctic differently affect. So now you are compelled to write two different ways. Okay, if they had told affect, you could have put everything together and then iterated the points. Now when they say differently affect the weather patterns and human activities on the earth, explain. Now you have to give two subheadings. One is you have to talk about how Arctic and its melting will impact. Then you have to think about a few things that happens in the northern hemisphere. What happens in the northern hemisphere? Extratropical cyclones you can talk, jet streams you can talk, polar vortex you can talk, link those to this, that's all. Come to Antarctic. Okay, what will talk about Antarctic? What will talk about Antarctic? See, this is why this question is difficult. Okay, Antarctic, you will have less points to write because you have studied less, because southern hemisphere is not that significant in geography. Understanding this? So you write generic points here. Melting of Antarctic will create sea level rises. Melting of Antarctic will affect fishing stocks in Australia, New Zealand and Falklands. Are you getting it? Right, generic points, you can't help it. But you expecting to know the perfect answer in this question is wrong. That is what I am trying to tell you. This question is difficult, for sure. Okay, so whenever you are writing that question that you know that is difficult, you should also set proper expectations to yourself. And when you are writing, you are feeling, I am writing a bad answer, but everyone is writing a good answer. That means you are gone. You are understanding this? You should know very well that if I am writing a wrong answer, everyone else is writing a bad answer only. And then you have to write to make it as good as possible. Understood? So this is a difficult question. Next one. Discuss the multidimensional implications of uneven distribution of mineral in the world. Economic geography. Keyword approach. They are only asking implications. Okay? There will be good implications also. There will be bad implications also. See, forget uneven distribution of mineral oil. Is uneven distribution good? Give me 3 points for good. Uneven distribution is good. Give me 3 points. Forget mineral oil. Will uneven distribution create interdependency? Correct. Will uneven distribution create interactions? Open up communication channels? Correct. Create specializations. Understanding this? Let them ask mineral oil, let them ask anything else. Can you write with these keywords? This is all geography is. Now, 4 points or 3 points about uneven distribution. Now, negative points. Give me negative points. Monopoly, very good. Concentration, very good. Someone told concentration, yes, very good keyword, concentration. Inequity, okay, growth inequity, yes, very good. What else? Regionalism, see, very good. Done, no? 4 points. Yeah, I got 4 points here, 4 points here. That is all the answer is. This is all geography is. All the points were given by you because you know the concepts. You are just perceived or pushed to read a book on this. Okay, the moment you are reading, discuss the multidimensional implication of uneven distribution of mineral oil in India. The moment I know what will run in your mind. You will think of a world map and you will think where oil is present. And when you are not able to think where oil is present in all the continents, you will feel that you don't know the concept. But the demand is not about you knowing the distribution of oil in the world. Even with few places that you know that in Southeast Asia where it is available, in West Asia where it is available, in America where it is available, South America, that is. That much is enough. With that much only you can write an entire answer to this. Got this? What are the main socio-economic implications arising out of the development of IT industry in major cities of India? Okay. Now, forget this thing, IT industries. Okay. Now tell me, what are the main implications, socio-economic implications of urbanization in India? Migration. What else? Think about it. What are the socio-economic implications of urbanization in India? Assume that you have made 8 to 10 points on urbanization in India, the socio-economic implications. Can't you just put it here also? Yes, you have to change the approach a little bit. I am not telling you exactly stick the exactness of it. Can't you use the same thing to this also? The only thing you have to attach is you have to attach how IT industries put that, how IT industries made it, how IT industries created it. The moment you put that, the answer is done. For me, economic geography in mains is the most easiest questions asked in geography. Okay, for others, they feel the other way around. Because they studied basics very well, they studied prelims part very well, they feel that basics they can handle, economic geography is going very wrong. Okay, so this is about paper 2021. Okay, and there will always be one question that will be difficult, guys. Here, this was difficult. There, what was it? I don't think that is difficult. For me, difficult was color coded. With the assumption that you didn't read the newspaper. Otherwise, see, if they had asked what are cyclones, give the color coding of cyclones and also examine the implications of it, then the question becomes easy, because that is one part that you don't know. Here they are asking color coded as a direct question. If you have not read the newspaper, you cannot answer it. Okay, so that becomes difficult. The point I am trying to make is, in geography, out of 4 10 marker and 4 15 marker, there will be one googly, okay, to throw you off, and that is okay. That is a googly for everyone. Okay, the next is 2020. Okay. Very good. The next is, discuss the geophysical characteristics of circum-Pacific zone. Easy or difficult? Basics. When I say circum-Pacific zone, they are talking about the Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay, you have to talk about the Pacific Ring of Fire. That's all they are asking. Okay. The next is, the process of desertification does not have climatic boundaries. Justify with examples. That is, desertification need not be in the deserts only. Deserts can also happen outside the deserts. That's all they are asking. Okay, so you have to examine two things. One is natural deserts, another is man-made deserts. That's all. If you know world climatic types, you are going to answer this. Next, how will the melting of Himalayan glaciers have far-reaching impact on the water resources of India? Okay, so you have to talk about this is a little specific. To generate content for the 10 marker will be a little difficult, but overall approach is easy. Okay, specific points is very difficult. You can generate 3 to 4 specific points, after that generic points only come. Okay, so I will take it as moderate difficulty. Okay, but physical geography, physical geography, physical geography. Okay, account the present location of iron and steel industries away from the source of raw material by giving examples. Okay, now we came back to economic geography. How will you write this answer? What is iron and steel industry mainly dependent upon? Correct. So they are telling it is moving away from raw materials. Okay. In factors of localization of industries, you have studied other factors also. For example, you have talked about government actions, you have talked about technological factors, you have talked about environmental implications, you have talked about different factors. Now all you have to think is, present location of iron and steel industries is moving away from the source of raw material, then that means there is some other factor that is influencing it. It can be anything, there is no definite answer. That is what I am trying to tell you. If you are thinking that there is that factor that I don't know, others know, you have lost the game. There is no one definite factor that is influencing. You can talk about the technological factor because of the coming of pipelines. Okay, today from Chhattisgarh you have a pipeline that runs to Visakhapatnam. They are going to transfer from slurry and then they are going to transport it. Understanding this? So that is one. The next is marketing. Very good. Marketing. Japan has emerged as an highest iron and steel industry, but it does not have any raw materials at all. How did the industries come up there? Market based. Understanding? Next, recycling. If you have what is that? Salem steel plant. Okay, this steel plant is purely based on scarp metal. Scarp metal, like that I am just telling. Okay, if you realize which topic can be used for writing an answer, you can generate the points. If raw material is not if raw material is not influencing the iron and steel, what can be influencing? That should have been the line of thought. So okay, I know environmental. Let me talk about environmental. You can talk about environmental. A lot of iron and steel industries have been shut down because of environmental factors. You getting it? You can talk about that factor. The next is you can talk about technological factor. Next is you can talk about governmental factor, how institutional factors. For example, industrial corridors. If industrial corridors are going to reduce the transport cost of the raw materials of iron ore, obviously iron and steel will develop there also. Correct? Example is Bokaro-Rourkela line. Okay, Bokaro has no iron and steel, but there is iron and steel plant there. Because for Rourkela, when the train is coming to take coal from Bokaro, it will get the iron ore raw material to Bokaro. And when it is going back, it will take coal. Again, it is coming back, it will bring iron ore. Again, when it is going back, it will bring coal. See? Understanding this? Like this. Here, so the one major misconception what students do is, the moment they read the question, they are thinking, have I read this in the notes? You have read indirectly in the notes the factors of localization of industries, but you have not read this exact answer. So when you are expecting yourself that you have to write an answer from exactly what you have studied, you are going to lose the game. But if you know that I can make use of whatever I have read to generate an answer to whatever questions they ask, you will ace it. You got it? Okay. This is about it. The next is the interlinking of rivers can provide viable solutions to the multidimensional interrelated problems of droughts, floods, and critically examined. Environmental geography. Easy question. Okay. Next. Account for the huge flooding of million cities in India, including the smart ones. This is one more theme. Okay. The last 2021 and 22 they have not asked. 2020, 19 and 18 there has always been one question on disaster. Okay. They are purposely asked on disasters. For the example 2019 they had asked about earthquakes. Direct question. Examine the different roles of earthquakes. So here also, see this is more or less like talking about disaster only. But here you have to bring plate tectonics rather than disaster. But there will always be one question on disaster. Okay. The next is India has immense potential of solar energy, though there is regional variation in its development. Elaborate. Okay. How is this question looking similar to? Correct. So again you do the same thing. You show this India map, you show the spatial spread of solar energy where the potential is very high, and you take a regional approach. The regional approach of why it is not, what are the limitations in Northwest India, Central India and South India. And is the limitation same for wind energy and solar energy? Yes. I mean yes, here and there minor changes will happen, but overall yes, more or less it is the same. Okay. So, but that is what, if you are thinking that I am going to generate specific points, then it becomes difficult. Are you understanding this? Fine. Examine the status of forest resource in India and its resultant impact on climate change. Direct question. Okay. So, in geography, this is the major themes. You should be very well versed with these themes. The one is physical geography. Okay. The second is economic and resource geography. The third is environmental geography. And the fourth is disasters and climate change. Okay. Prepare on these themes. Whatever questions that is there on these themes, have that extra emphasis. Okay. So for example, you may be exposed to different test series. You can take test series anywhere, but the more and more questions you write, you always make sure you make it a point to segregate it on these themes. If it doesn't fall in these four themes, that means that question is not that relevant with respect to GS1. Okay. So this is regarding geography, and in geography, especially GS1, you should have the competency to to draw the world map and India map in 30 seconds. Diagrams is an implicit and integrate part of geography, not for the reason that someone has told me and I know the secret, because the philosophy and essence of geography is diagram. I have told you, geography is defined as the spatial distribution of phenomena. Correct. So if you have to abide by the philosophy of geography, you have to show the spatial distribution. Either show it at the scale of India or show it at the scale of the world, but diagram is an essence of geography. And with that assumption, I am going to tell that diagram should definitely be there in geography. So the phenomena can be anything. The phenomena can be urbanization, the phenomena can be interlinking of rivers, the phenomena can be, forest resources of India. It can be circum-Pacific zone, it can be mining areas, iron steel industries. Phenomena can be X. Distribution of that X spatially should be shown through a diagram. If it can be shown through the world map, you don't have to draw the India map. But if it cannot be shown through the India map, for example, here in examine the forest resources of India, they are asking in specific about India. So here you have to show it with respect to India. Okay. So drawing the diagram, India map and world map within 30 seconds is a competency that you have to develop. Okay. It is going to do very good differential in the answers that you write. Okay. So this is geography. You got a clarity of geography? Okay. Overall, this is how you have to approach geography. Alright. Physical geography of India as well as the world, it will overlap with your basics. Okay. The rest of the part is application oriented. That will come through your practice. Okay. I have told you, you practice the question, write a mediocre answer or a below average answer, but go to the synopsis. Check what are the keywords used. Check what are the diagrams used and then bring it back. Understanding this? So that is how you learn the other three parts. Okay. So the next is society. The next is society. Let us just look at society. So here what we will do is, you have to tell me the difficulty. It is easy, moderate or difficult. The second is you have to tell me the theme. You are at least familiar with the syllabus of GS1, the society part. So just tell me the theme of that question. Okay. Let us start. Society previous year question 2022. The first is explore and evaluate the impact of work from home on family relationship. What is this? Tell me the theme. One word, I just want one word, because see, they cannot ask you to abstract anything outside this thing. If they are asking any question in society, it has to somehow overlap with one of the bullet points in your syllabus. So it gives some type of linkage to the questions that is asked. That's all I am asking. I am not asking for perfection. It is okay if you make it wrong, but I want to know how you will link it. Explore and evaluate the impact of work from home on family relationship. Tell me. Very good. Wait. Anyone else? Okay. First tell me, what is the focus of this question? Is it work from home? Is the focus of the question work from home? Then, where does family relationship come in the syllabus? Salient features of Indian society. Understanding this, that is how you need to link. This question is impact of this. Remove work from home. I'll talk about explore and evaluate the impact of gig economy on family relationship. I'll remove gig economy. Explore and evaluate the something else, X, artificial intelligence on family relationship. I can put anything here. This is the variable. What is the constant? Family relationship is the constant. Okay. So this is salient features of Indian society. And it's an easy question. Easy question is because if you know the impact of technology or impact of modernization on family relationship, put the same thing here. Let the variable be anything. You understanding this? Next. How is the growth of tier 2 cities related to the rise of new middle class with an emphasis on the culture of consumption? Where does this fall? Is the question talking about tier 2? Is the focus on tier 2? It is, the focus is on? Okay. Your answer should revolve around the new middle class. Okay. If it revolves around the because this is, see, you should realize which part you are answering. If you talk more about tier 2, it will look like GS3. Getting it? Yes, you have to. I am not telling that you have to not use tier 2. I am not telling that you have not to use culture of consumption. But both these two should culminate towards new middle class. You got this? Fine. The reason why I will give you this a little challenging. The reason why this is challenging is in society they play this. They give 3 variables to answer. I will show you in the future also. In the society, usually everywhere they give you 2 variables. Okay. In society, in society they make it a point. I don't know why they give 3 variables to play. So when they give 3 variables to play, it becomes a little difficult because you have to address 3 things at the same time. Okay. Next one. Given the diversities among the tribal communities in India, in which specific context should they be considered as a single category? What is the theme? Tribals. Okay. Tribe is a theme. Tribe, one question will usually come. You will get to know. Okay. But yes, broader level is diversity, but tribes is important. Analyze the salient of sect in Indian society with respect to caste, region and religion. Okay, what is the theme here? That's all. This is the theme. Caste, region, religion. All the 3 are keywords in your syllabus. Okay. Now let it be analyze the salience of sect. Forget sect. Analyze the salience of modernization. You can write the same thing. Whatever is there in your notes on this theme. Are you understanding this? Analyze the salience of technology. You bend this and write the same thing. Are you understanding this? So if you have something written up on this, let them ask you anything here. Okay, it becomes, so how will you structure the answer? You will structure like this. First subheading is analyze the salience of this variable on caste. Give 3 points. Analyze the salience of this on region. Give 3 points. Analyze the salience of this on religion. Give 3 points. Your answer is done. Got this? So overall, this is the way you approach it. Next. Are tolerance, assimilation and pluralism the key elements in the making of Indian form of secularism? What is the theme here? Secularism. Easy direct question. Elucidate the relationship between globalization and new technology in the world of scarce resources with special reference to India. The theme is? Okay. I have told you 6 questions. Okay. Now you tell me which is the most difficult question here. It need not be correct answer. Don't stop searching for correct answers. Which is according to your opinion difficult question here? Why? Because 3 variables. Okay. Forgetting that, conceptually to understand and to write an answer, which is difficult here? Nothing is. Are you seeing this? That is the beauty of society. In society, the questions are not conceptually difficult. They are asked very straightforward questions. I don't know why people are working so hard to write the answers for this. Okay. The point is, if you have, especially society is an issue based bullet point approach, correct? So if you have issues properly prepared, you can definitely attack those issues with the same content that you have. Okay. So the point I am trying to make is, one, thematically the questions will come. Whatever thematic you have identified, we will go back. We will go back to the years, you will get to know what that thing. Thematically the questions will come. That is the first thing. The second is, questions are conceptually easy, guys. You don't have to read big books to answer this question. Okay. You read some finite source. Let us say finite source is your Google only. On regionalism, you have some notes made. On religion, you have some notes made. Caste, some notes made. Salient features of Indian society, some notes done. That is all is enough to write answers here. How will you value add to it? Through synopsis. Value add to it through synopsis. Okay. So this is 2022. Let's go back to 2000. Okay, we still have. Oh, I have not changed the year, guys. Sorry. So this is 2021. Okay. So let us assume. Examine the uniqueness of tribal knowledge system when compared to mainstream knowledge system and cultural this thing. The theme is tribes. Okay. Now if they are asking the uniqueness of tribal knowledge system, you just have to talk about their characteristic in the name of knowledge. That's all. How they are more close to the environment. How their knowledge talks about conservation rather than development. You are getting it? How their knowledge is transferred orally and not through records. How they transmit the knowledge not through classrooms but storytelling. Is whatever I am telling difficult? You know the answers. You don't try to seek books to know the answers here. You understanding this? So whatever characteristics you know about the tribals, bring the same characteristics and overlap it with this. The only change you will do is, instead of only talking about tribals, you will tell tribal knowledge, tribal knowledge, tribal knowledge. You understanding this? So this is how you have to deal with. Next, examine the role of gig economy in the process of empowerment of women in India. Okay. Now here is the focus on gig economy. What is the focus? That's all. Okay. Remove this gig economy. Examine the role of work from home in the process of empowerment of women in India. That also can come. The variable is X, but the focus is women empowerment. Okay. So if you have women and its issues, you have a bullet point of women and its issues. In women and issues, if you have made women empowerment financially, women empowerment economically, women empowerment socially, women empowerment digitally, women empowerment in technologically, if you have made such points, put that in this gig economy and write it. Your smartness comes, how will you link that to this variable called gig economy? That's all is the game. Again I am emphasizing, if you think I have not studied about gig economy and hence my answer will go wrong, it will go wrong definitely. Today it is coming on gig economy, tomorrow it can come on anything else. The variable is X. Don't prepare on this X. You prepare on the constant. The more you prepare on the constant, you can write an answer on whatever the variable can be. You got it? The next is discuss the main objectives of population education and point out the measures to achieve them in India in detail. This is relatively a difficult question because population education is nothing but understanding the demographic attributes. Okay, it can be literacy, it can be sex ratio, it can be the population growth rate, it can be the percentage of elderly population, the percentage of reproductive group, the percentage of adolescents, or the percentage of people or under 5 age population. So having this idea is what is population education. And how will it impact? You need a little bit time. When I said difficult, conceptually it is not difficult. Education, population, you can make sense of it. The time that you require to generate an answer makes it difficult. Okay, so I will assume that this is difficult. Next one. What is cryptocurrency? How does it affect global society? Has it been affecting Indian society also? Direct, correct? Now, how does Indian society maintain continuity in traditional social values? Enumerate the changes taking place in it. Now, you have read the 6 questions or 5 questions. Conceptually, is any question difficult? Conceptually. Everything is making sense. Normal English, correct? Conceptually, it is never difficult in society. Okay? So, society should not be overly, complicated. Emphasis is good because 75 marks come from this. So, emphasis is fine, but it should not be overly complicated. Okay, so this is 2021. The next is 2020. As I didn't tell, we didn't discuss this thing, right? Here it is social values, that is the theme here. Salient features of Indian society, that is the theme here. Okay, here see, what is cryptocurrency? How does it affect global society? How has it been affecting Indian society? Correct. So what is the emphasis here? What is the focus here? Okay, forget focus. What is X? What is variable X here? Okay, I can remove that. I can tell what is artificial general intelligence. How does artificial general intelligence affect society? Has it been affecting Indian society also? Will the answer change? The answer may change if it is asked in paper 3 because the focus will become AGI. But the answer will not change in GS1 because the focus is not on AGI or the focus is not on cryptocurrency, the focus is on Indian society. And irrespective of what technology comes, it will have the same impacts, positive and negatives over Indian society, and hence your answer will never change. And hence paper 1 is very scoring and very easy. You understood this? Okay. This, the third one, discuss the main population education. This comes under the syllabus bullet point, population and its studies. Okay, you have a syllabus bullet point of population and its studies, right? Fine. Here it is women and women issues. Okay, and tribes. I have told you already. Now 2020. This I have not changed. It is 2020. Okay. As caste lost its relevance in understanding the multicultural Indian society, elaborate your answer with illustrations. Casteism. The answer is casteism. Now, as caste lost its relevance in understanding the Indian society, I will tell you that how to take a stand on this. Okay, you should not tell yes, you should not tell no, I don't think, you should not tell anything like that. Okay, there is a language how to put across it, but that is okay. But the theme is coming on caste, and there will be a few questions in GS1 where they will ask your opinion. Okay, you should be careful how you put across that opinion. I will teach you that, but you should be very careful in it. Next. COVID-19 pandemic accelerated class inequalities and poverty in India, comment. Okay, this is talking about not COVID pandemic as such, it is, today they are asking COVID pandemic, tomorrow they can ask you anything else, you are getting it. So the focus is on class inequalities and poverty. The next, do you agree that regionalism in India appears to be consequence of rising cultural assertiveness? Okay, the theme is regionalism. Tomorrow they say, do you agree that regionalism in India appears to be consequence of something else? You are understanding this? Overall regionalism, it has its own strengths, its own weaknesses. There can be cultural assertiveness, tomorrow there can be religious assertiveness, day after tomorrow there can be political assertiveness also. But the answer to the regionalism will always remain the same. You are seeing, that is the smartness how you attach the answer to. The next is diversity and pluralism in India under threat due to globalization? Globalization is the theme. Questions will always come. See, there is, elucidate the relationship between globalization and new technology in the world of scarce resources. See, this is 3 variables. See, elucidate the relationship between globalization and new technology in the world of scarce resources. See, 3 variables. This happens mainly in society. I don't know why, but they purposely do this. And they are also putting one more thing in the special reference to India. Okay, that will add to the complication. I am not telling the language is difficult. I am not telling question is not difficult to answer, but to interlink so many variables and write makes it difficult. Okay, it will take more time. Alright. So this is, where were we? Do you agree regionalism? Globalization. Globalization is a theme, guys. One question will always come. Okay. Next, customs and traditions suppress reason leading to obscurantism. Okay. Do you agree? Okay. Now see, what is the theme here? Salient features of Indian society. What do you mean by customs and what do you mean by traditions? The problem is you should have a very good knowledge of basics. If you don't know the difference between customs and traditions, then obviously the question becomes difficult. Okay, what is traditions and how is it different from customs? Any practices, okay, any practices that have been transferred from one generation to another, from ancient to today's times, is known as traditions. All those practices along with the forces of modernization practiced today in society is known as customs. So customs is a present context of Indian society's salient features. Traditions are the salient features that have been transferred from the previous generations to today's world. So this is customs and traditions. So when you have that clarity, then you will obviously make the answers of it. For example, see, we always have vessels kept outside our houses so that we can wash our feet and get inside. This is tradition. Okay, this has always been there. Okay, now this has been there from previous times. For example, see, how does Indian society maintain continuity in their traditional social values? Here you should talk about customs, you should talk about traditions. Only then you can show that there is continuity. Understanding this? So don't think that only when they ask explicitly customs and traditions they should come. The salient features of Indian society has customs as well as traditions in it. So whenever they are questioning, let us say any technology and how will it influence Indian society, talk about custom and how it will influence, talk about tradition and how it will influence. You understanding this? Okay. Now one more question, one more student asked me this in IAM program, customs and traditions suppress reason leading to obscurantism, do you agree? One, they are asking your opinion, so be careful when you do that. Always Indian society is very strong and positive. Okay, we have withstood several challenges for several thousands of years. Okay, so you should never agree. Never agree to anything negative. Indian society and its forces are very strong. You are understanding this? So when you take a stand, you should always take a stand on the sides of Indian society. We should talk about the assimilative and the tolerant capacity of Indian society is so high that it can withstand any challenges, not only today, in the coming times. So your opinion should always be based on that. Let them talk regionalism is getting spoiled, let them talk caste is getting spoiled, let them talk customs traditions getting spoiled. Don't take a stand where you tell yes it is getting spoiled. You will lose marks the moment you do and it will seem very immature-ish. You are understanding this? It cannot be. For thousands of years it has been preserved. Nothing can spoil it in a matter of years. Okay? So your stance should always be in par and in line with the customs, traditions and the values of Indian social values, system. Got it? So that is the opinion that you should always take. Keep that as your generic aspect if you want to score good marks in your paper. Understanding this? Okay. So one student asked me, so customs and traditions suppress reason leading to obscurantism, sir. What if I don't understand this word obscurantism? Fair enough. People usually who are coming from regional medium may face the challenge, that is fine. But such times what you should do is, you only read 2-3 times. Read the question 2-3 times. Customs and traditions suppress reason, that is reasoning, leading to. Is this word negative or positive then? That much is enough to write an answer, yes or no? You don't need to know exactly what obscurantism means. Okay? You look at the other wordings, suppress, reason, leading to. So when you look at the context, you can make sense of this. That much is enough. Don't get your mind fixated that just because I don't understand this term, I'll lose marks. I lost this question. You are letting go of the very easy marks. Okay, now I will come back to this. Analyze the salience of sect in Indian society with regards to caste, region and religion. Read this again 4 or 5 times, you will understand what salience is. It can be importance, it can be significance. Are you understanding this? So just because you don't know the term salience, don't sit and think, oh I don't know, I may interpret wrong. Read it 3 to 4 times. You would have got the competency to make sense what that question is overall trying to tell you. Got it? So this is, where were we? So this is done. Okay. How have digital initiatives in India contributed to the functioning of education system in the country? Okay. So this is one new thing. They always add one type of technology and ask you. Okay. Technology based. For example, here they have asked digital initiative. Next they have asked, if you remember, cryptocurrency. They have asked one on cryptocurrency. So they'll always bring one new technology and they'll ask how will it impact either Indian society or something very specific like education system. Okay. Now see, this entire thing was asked more or less during COVID times. Okay. And during COVID times, see, COVID pandemic accelerated class inequalities. That's what they're asking. How have digital initiatives contributed to education, because a lot of online learning came then. Okay. That's why they're asking this. So these two are contextually they are to do with current affairs. Contextually. Now don't think, sir, I don't read current affairs. Okay. Contextually it is current affairs, but society as a subject, is it static or dynamic? You understood this? Know this, answer this properly. Society is a very, very simple, very easy and a very joyful subject. If you have made issue based notes, that is more than enough to write good answers. Practice writing, write more. You should have written at least 10 answers on caste, 10 answers on religionism, 10 answers on regionalism, 10 answers on customs and traditions. Say, are you getting this? Write more, read less. Okay, you will ace society. Okay, because they can ask variable anything, but that variable will be directing to what? To a static concept. Okay, so if you have practiced on the static concept, you will have that smartness. Let them ask anything, sir, I will write the answer to it. Okay, so this is society. Okay, so overall these are the themes for society. Okay, so you should have something made on these things. Alright, and if you have made something on these themes, you can answer on your own. Okay, so after making, let us say, around 400 words on everything, you can start writing answers. Write answers and reverse engineer. Always reverse engineer. Don't read more. This is your base material. Once you are done with the base material, keep revising. Keep revising the base material. Don't read more, write. So when you write different answers on, let us say, salient features, you will get tribes, you will get more data. So bring those data, bring those facts into your notes. Reverse engineering is always the way to add notes, value to your notes. Okay, so this is regarding society. Okay, let's go to the next one. See, overall, before I finish this, I'll just come back to this. Overall, this is the marking pattern of paper 1, because we finished the two dominant pillars of this thing. I just wanted to finish it to give this. So this is the dominant scoring pattern of GS1. Okay, geography has 4 10 markers and 4 15 markers. That will make it 100 marks. Society has 3 10 markers and 3 15 markers. That will make it 75 marks. Okay. Now these two, I told you, these two everyone will focus, so even you will focus. These two everyone will write good answers, so even you will write good answers. The moment you don't write good answers here, you have lost the game there only. Okay. Now these two are the places where you are not trying to create differential, you are only trying to come on par with others also. That is, if you want to get 100 plus, you should know very well these two sections. Okay. So this is the marking pattern. The next pattern is where you create the differential, where you write extra and get that extra marks compared to others, and that is modern India and ancient and medieval. Okay. Now, post-independence world history, obviously I put an hyphen because this is how the game is played, right? See, they'll remove one ancient medieval question and they'll put it in post-independence. They'll remove one modern India question and put it in world history. Are you understanding how if the question comes from world history, one question will reduce in modern India. If one question comes from post-independence, one question will reduce in ancient medieval. But up to this point, the maximum questions that has come from these two is 2 questions. That is one from world history and one from this thing, post-independence. Okay, we will discuss that. We will go back to the questions and discuss that. But according to me, for my students, you have to see it like this only. Okay, don't see it like questions come from this. But that doesn't mean I am telling you to skip this. You are going to put your efforts. Okay, but the efforts are going to reflect the amount of marks that comes out of it. It is like when you are preparing for IIT, how much of efforts are you going to put for organic chemistry? It is like that. Okay, instead of putting overly on that, you can put your efforts on physics. Are you understanding this? The same way, the more and more efforts you put here, the returns are very less. 2 ways the questions will come. Either you can answer even without reading it. Okay, or you can't answer even if you have read it. That's how the questions are coming. Okay, so put efforts but not more here. Alright, so this is how the marking pattern is. So we have discussed geography and society, 175 marks. There is no scope to be, mediocre here. You have to be good, you have to be on par, you have to be ready. Okay, the next is modern India and ancient medieval. Let us look at how the questions are coming in these two. Okay, so this is done. So modern India. If we go to modern India and 2022, now I have changed, 2022, look at the question. Why did the armies of the British East India Company, mostly comprising of Indian soldiers, win consistently against the more numerous and better equipped armies of the Indian rulers? Okay, if you give reasons like they were more disciplined, they wore uniform, their guns were very strong, okay, you are going to not get marks. Okay, they are asking you the temporal approach. They are asking you the temporal approach between what happened in Battle of Plassey, how that Battle of Plassey and its consequence impacted the Battle of Vandivash, how the Battle of Vandivash impacted the consequence of Battle of Buxar, and that led to the further consolidation of the British colonial rule. This analysis doesn't come, you will not get marks. I have seen the synopsis of a lot of papers of institutes who are giving these answers. They are giving all these answers, their equipments, discipline, their the approach, strategy, all these things. The question is not about it. Understand history. History, you have to answer like history only. History, you cannot give scientific analysis. Okay. Anyways, is the question difficult or easy? Easy? Moderate. Okay. Moderate. We'll put it in moderate. But the theme, when I say theme, it is coming before 1857. Yes or no? Before 1857, you should understand that it is coming before 1857. Next. Why are there a sudden spurt in famines in colonial India since the mid 18th century? See, before 1857. Yes or no? So, know that. Where the question is coming, you should know. This is a difficult question because see, when I say modern India, usually people will start reading from 1857 and post 1857. The question in 2022 are coming like this. Okay, next. The political and administrative reorganization of the states and territories has been a continuous ongoing process since the mid 19th century. Okay, this comes in 1850s. Okay, however, they are demanding a temporal approach. See here also, why was there a sudden spurt in famines in colonial India since the mid 18th century? So when you stop mid 18th means you have to stop from 1750s to almost 1800s. You can go up to 1850s also. Because they are using the word since. They are expecting you to give temporal approach here. You have to have a generic idea of what has happened through the course of time. But usually how are we studying in the books? We are studying on the events. We are focused only on the events. Non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, whatever, the Quit India movement. See, we are focused only on the issues. No one is worrying about the event temporal distribution of it. That is why you are not able to frame an answer to what UPSC is asking. That's why when you write in the question, answer and come, the difference between my students and other students is they are also going to write, but they are mainly focused on the issues. My students will mainly focus on the temporal distribution. Okay, and you will definitely create the differential. Okay, next. Now the point is, I am not telling to join my class. I am just telling, if you want to learn the flow of events through time. Don't learn events in silos. That's all I am trying to tell you. If you are going to learn history, if you are going to take history, start from Indus Valley civilization, go to Indian independence. Don't segregate academically what these people have done. Ancient, medieval, modern India, nothing. There is no division like that. You go from the Indus Valley civilization up to the freedom struggle in a flow of events. Okay, when you go from the flow of events from IVC to Indian freedom struggle, you examine culturally also what is happening, politically also what is happening, socially also what is happening. If you can do that, you can answer any question in modern India, ancient and medieval. You don't have to read art and culture separately for that. Understanding this is how actually history should be done. So people who want to do it, do that. If you do that, you will get the approach. Okay, so again, hope you got this. Temporal approach of what has happened between the wars of the Britishers, temporal approach. Okay, next. 21. Trace the rise and growth of socio-religious reform movements with special reference to Young Bengal and Brahmo Samaj. Look at that keyword. Okay, they are asking you explicitly, write the temporal approach. They don't want you to write two events there. If you write Brahmo Samaj and if you write Young Bengal movement, 5 points and come, no. They want you to trace the rise and growth of it. Okay, next. To what extent did the role of moderates prepare the base for the wider freedom movement? Comment. Okay, very direct question on moderates. They are asking to what extent. So yes, you have to give the good things that they did. You also have to give the drawbacks. And never use the word called negatives. Nor in your answer, not even when you are studying. It is either drawbacks or it is either challenges. It is never negatives. Okay, especially in paper 1, especially in society. Okay, you are giving positives of caste system and negatives of caste system. No. Challenges, drawbacks, that is good. You got this? Okay. The next is bring out the constructive programs of Mahatma Gandhi during non-cooperation and civil disobedience movement. See, they are asking two events here. Non-cooperation and civil disobedience. Okay, so you have to have the temporal approach to talk about the constructive programs through the time of around 1 decade. Understanding this, but the focus here is mainly on constructive programs. Anyways, this is 2021. So the point is, let us say in constructive program, obviously there are only 5 points in constructive program. Yes or no? The Hindu-Muslim unity, the promotion of Khadi. So like that you have 5 points. So just by writing that 5 points and then elaborating Khadi, elaborating Hindu-Muslim unity will not give you marks. That 5 points everyone will write. In that 5 points, how will you attach time? So Hindu-Muslim unity, if you want to talk, what will you talk about in non-cooperation movement? How it was important to bring that Hindu-Muslim unity? The promotion of Khadi, how the promotion of Khadi will create the self-dependency in this decade of NCM and CDM. This elaboration makes it good. Okay, so though the constructive program you are going to bring that 5 important constructive points, there the elaboration should be temporal approach only. You got it? Fine. The next is evaluate the policies of Lord Curzon and their long-term implications on the national movements. In 2020, the questions were very direct. As you go to 2019 and 18, even more direct. Okay, but of late they have made it more temporal. Okay, so anyways, pretty easy and direct question. In 2015, I think they had asked about Lord Dalhousie. How Dalhousie is considered as a modern something of India. Correct. So the question will come more or less on the Governor Generals directly. Okay. Since the decades of 1920s, the national movement acquired various ideological strands and thereby expanded its social base. Look at the question. Since the decade of 1920s. Okay. So from 1920s, where will you stop? You have to go temporally 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. What are the ideological approaches that came into our freedom movement? So when you think from 1920s, there came Swarages, there came no changers, there came communism, there came socialism, there came regionalism, there came communalists, there came trade unionists, Kisan Sabha. Are you seeing this? The moment you go temporally and think, you will get so many ideologies that came into the freedom movement. Okay, so temporal approach, that is what I am trying to emphasize. History is temporal approach. If you don't know the temporal approach, you will not be able, if you think, okay, let us say since the decade of 1920s, the national movement acquired various ideological strands. If you think, let us say event wise, okay, 1920s there was NCM. What happened in NCM? Okay, then in 1920s there was Nehru Report. What happened in Nehru Report? In 1930s there was civil disobedience movement. What happened here? Civil disobedience movement. If you think like this, you will not be able to answer. Event wise should never be the approach for history. Got it? So this is about modern India. So 2020 we will be discussing more, but for now, for the paucity of time, 3 years is enough. Okay. The next is the themes of modern India. Okay, so people who want to break, it's almost done. Okay, you can go and come, not an issue, but it's almost done. Anyways, we have ancient, medieval, and art and culture. I'll just show you the questions of that. So I'll just wrap it up in another 15-20 minutes. Okay, so this is modern India. The last is the ancient, medieval, and art and culture. Again, treating this separately is itself wrong. Okay, in my class, the approach that I give you, I'll never treat anything as different. From IVC, I go directly to a 1947. Okay, that is one flow of events. Okay, however, for the sake of convenience, we have done this. So let us assume how the questions are coming: ancient, medieval, and culture. So I put the years here. So in 2022, how will you explain the medieval Indian temple sculptures represent the social life of those days? Okay, how will you explain medieval temple sculptures represent the social life of those days? Okay, now what is the focus? If I remove medieval temple sculptures and if I put ancient temple sculptures, will the answer change? Will the answer change? If I remove ancient temple sculptures and if I put stupas or Jataka stories, will the answer change? You are understanding this? That's how you have to play. Got it? Next, discuss, but you should have some content to write there. Okay, that is definitely there. How architecture, sculpture, paintings, play an important role in influencing the social life of India. This you should be ready with. Let them ask anything in specific. Now they are asking medieval temple sculpture. So how will you start? You will start talking about what is the medieval temple sculpture. The medieval temple sculpture reached its climax from 9th to 12th century. During the periods of Chandelas, during the periods of the Odissas, the Gangas. Okay, so like that you will examine the period. You will examine. You will tell the dynasty, and you will give few examples. Kanderiya Mahadeva temple, Puri Jagannath temple, Sun temple Konark, Solanki temple Modera. Okay, like that you will give a few temples of what is there in the medieval India, and then come to how did it impact the social life of those days. Here talk the same thing. How any architecture, any sculpture, any painting will always influence the social influence of those days. That will always remain the same. But where will it become dynamic? In the introduction part, where you have to tell some specific things. So to tell that some specific things, you should have a very good idea about the temporal. You should know where temple architecture reached its peak, where Indian sculpture reached its peak, where Indian painting reached its peak, where medieval temple architecture reached its peak, where Bhaktism reached its peak, where Sufism reached its peak. You should have a very good idea of this. If you have a very good idea of this, and if you give the temporal approach, answer is done. When you are writing this, how it represents the social life of this is more or less the same for everything. So if you have one answer for that, you can replicate the same thing again and again. You got it? Next, discuss the main contribution of Gupta period and Chola period to Indian heritage and culture. Okay, so when they say contributions of Gupta period and contribution of Chola period, you will have enormous things to write here. Contribution with regards to SNT, contribution with regards to literature, contribution with respect to religion, culture. Are you getting it? So too many points are there. Okay, so obviously this is the easy question. Okay, next, discuss the significance of lion and bull figures in Indian mythology, art and architecture. This is difficult. Okay, this is difficult because difficult, as I tell you, you have to think. Okay, you have to think. Now what you have to do is very simple thing I will tell you. See, if you have the temporal approach from IVC to, let us say, medieval India, just from IVC, Vedic age, Mauryas, Guptas, like that you just think and go where all bull was used. Write some 3 points there and then again come back to IVC. Okay, go in the same line and think where lion was used. Come back and write the same thing there. So at least if you can generate 5 unique points, your answer is done here. The point I am trying to tell is, if you only think of Indian mythology, or if you only think of art, if you only think of architecture and then think, okay, in Indian architecture where is bull, where is lion, you will not get. Okay, so don't think on the basis of one event. Think of from the historical angle where bull was used from IVC to medieval India. Then you will get, okay, here it was used, here it was used. Then you write it. You understood this? So this is about this one. Temporal approach, guys. That is what the game is. The next is evaluate the nature of the Bhakti literature and its contribution to Indian culture. Okay, so you have to basically talk about the Nayanas and Alvars and then go up to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is, you have to start from 8th to 9th century and go up to 16th century and talk about different literatures. Okay, so you cannot stop by just telling. I have seen one more this thing, like they have given us a heading, evaluate the influence of Bhakti literature and just given generic points. Okay, that is also fine, but you have to examine it through temporal approach also. Otherwise it will become, you will not get marks. Okay, the next is, that was 2021. Only one question came from 2021. 3 questions have come from 2022. Okay, now 2020. See, 4 questions has come from 2020. 4 questions has come from 2020. Now see, the rock cut architecture represents one of the most important sources of our knowledge of early Indian art and history. Okay, now if I remove rock cut architecture and if I put temple architecture, still the same. If I remove temple architecture and if I put stupas, still the same. Okay, so the answer is the same, the body is the same, but the introduction changes. That is what you have to talk a little bit about the rock cut architecture. Are you understanding this? If you don't talk about the rock cut architecture, then that uniqueness is not created. So, but to talk about rock cut architecture, you should know exactly when it peaked, what happened, who were the dynasties that were there, what were the patrons, what were the themes. Understanding this? So when you know these things, you can write that uniqueness and then talk about the generic points. How did it impact the history and art? Are you getting the idea? Okay. Next, Pala period is the most significant phase in the history of Buddhism in India. Okay. Now a lot of students of mine came and asked, sir, why Pala? This time they asked Pala. They can ask anything then. They can ask Gajapatis also, sir. Gajapatis can never be asked in the history of Buddhism. If they are asking in the history of Buddhism, Palas have some important role to play. That's why they have asked. Otherwise they wouldn't have asked. Because Palas were the last refuge in India before Buddhism was ousted. Okay, it was the last place where Buddhism thrived until Bhaktism took over. Okay, that's why they have asked. Now that you would have realized if you know when Buddhism was taken birth and when Buddhism reached its ebb. Jainism came to its peak when Jainism ebbed. When Hinduism peaked, when Hinduism ebbed and rose again. Are you seeing this? If you know the way it has gone, you can answer this. If you don't know, it will become very difficult. Okay. Persian literary sources of medieval India reflect the spirit of the age. Why are they telling Persian only? Why are they not telling Arabic? Why are they not telling Urdu? Because from 9th century till 16th century, the official language was Persia. You take the Delhi Sultanates, you take the Mughals, the official language of theirs is Persian. So whatever literary sources came, whatever translations that were done were all from Persia. That's why they are asking Persian literary sources. This you will understand if you know how literature has flown through the period of time. How Sanskrit reached its peak, how then Prakrit and Pali reached its peak, how Persia came into picture and reached its peak, and then came the English. If you have this knowledge temporally, then you can answer this. Understanding this? So forget history reading in isolations. You should always have the flow. If you have the flow, you will be able to answer. Okay, and that is where my students create the differential. Got it? So this is about ancient medieval. So 2020, 2024 questions are asked. It may seem difficult, but it is actually very easy. Believe me, it is very easy. Okay, I have a unique approach that I am proud of. Okay, that I can help my students read from IVC to modern India in only one day. Okay, with the competency to answer these questions, not just reading for the sake of reading. Okay, so this is about ancient medieval. Okay, so the next is post-independence in world history. As I told you, in the last 3 years, the questions have come in 2021 and 2021. 2022 there was no question, 2020 there was no question, 2019 there was a question. Okay, however, this is the 2021 question. So assess the main administrative issues and socio-cultural problems in the integration of Indian princely states. Okay, easy question. You can talk about Kashmir, you can talk about Junagadh, you can talk about Hyderabad. Okay, I told you, if you can answer, everyone can answer. Though some questions are asked in such a way that no one can answer. So like that, correct? Next, there arose a series of challenges to the democratic state system between the two world wars. Again, this is conventional. It is not anything extreme. They are asking between 1915 to 1940, what were the events that impacted the democratic system. So you have to talk about the rise of fascism, the rise of Nazism, you are getting it, the extremeness of colonialism, the coming of new superpowers, and how they are all impacting democratic system. Okay, so both are actually easy, both can be answered only with the competency of conventional topics. You got this? Okay, so this is the overall structure of GS1. So I hope, irrespective of you joining or not joining, I hope how you will approach GS1. Okay, every section will have its own importance. Treat that section with its own importance and you will ace the game. In every paper, that's how it is. Okay, don't look at the paper as one paper. Each paper will have sections and each sections will have their own unique approaches. You get that approach right, you will get it. Now how to develop that approach is through previous year question. Read the question again and again and again for that section, you will get an hang of it. Okay, so this is about GS1. Any doubts you people have from your side? I told let it be interactive, I only spoke more. Anything from your side? Any questions? Online guys, you also can ask questions if you want. Anything before I wrap it up? Yes. My classes, right? My classes will happen for 4 to 5 hours in the morning session. I will not have any evening sessions. Morning session 4 to 5 hours you will have. Go back home and spend 2 hours to revise what I do and to give the assignments that I give. That's all. Okay, 2 hours. So it will be 4 plus 2 or 6 hours. That's all. You go back and do the rest of the things for other papers. But what I can assure you is, by the time we are done, let's say 12 days, I have kept it as 12 days. By the end of 12 days, not only would you have competency to write answers, but you will see that you will be able to finish the entire GS paper in 3 days. Geography 1 day, society 1 day, history 1 day. I will make sure that you will get this competency, for sure. This is a promise. Okay. So 12 days, it will go on for 12 days, 4 hours of classes. Usually I don't give breaks, so be ready for that. The next is 2 hours, you go back home and read whatever I tell you to do and the assignments that I give you. Okay. So that is what will be the model of the class. I didn't understand what you mean by model, but my class, this is how it goes. Okay, so the first section that I will be taking is society. Okay, the first I will be completing is society. Okay, very easy but a very dynamic topic. The reason why I complete this is you should start reading newspapers. Okay, so you will understand the dynamicity and the niceness of bringing different viewpoints from the newspapers. But this is the first thing that I will do. This will, after that we will do with geography. Geography is a little vast, so you should be ready for it. It will take some time, okay, because there are different verticals that we have to cover, okay. And finally you have history, okay. So these are the 3 things that I will do. What I will not do is post-independence and world history, okay. I will not do means, doesn't mean that I am going to let go of it, I am not going to do anything. I will give you the document, okay, 65 pages ka document. It is up to you to sit and study that document, okay. I will not sit and teach anything there, okay. I will give you the documents, you go home and read it, 65 pages, you try to read it again and again, alright, because the returns there is very low, alright, but you should not skip outrightly. As I showed you, in 2021 2 questions came and both the questions are actually very easy, okay. So when the conventional questions come, you should not be able to skip it. So read that materials. Apart from this, this will be my agenda. My agenda is, at the end of my course in 3 days, you should be able to complete this entire thing if you sit for 3 days. Not only that, you should be able to answer from 2022 back to 2015. You should be able to answer all the questions that come from these 3. This is the agenda of my class. Okay. So this is, if I am going to take risk between post-independence and world history, what should I leave? Do not leave anything altogether. This is my advice to you. You saw the change in the pattern this time in prelims. You never know, that can happen in mains also. Okay, I told you the game is relative. So what happens if, let us say, UPSC decided that they will give 3 questions of post-independence India, but the 3 question is easy. Okay, then if you have not studied post-independence India, you are going to lose that game of relative, because others will just write it off. You are going to lose it. But let us say they are giving 3 questions and it is difficult. You are skipped post-independence India, so you are not going to lose anything, because others are also not going to write properly. Okay, so this is the best case scenario and this is the worst case scenario. So always prepare for worst case scenario. That's what I am trying to tell you. Worst case scenario is, even if I leave, I should be able to answer something. That is, post-independence India, if they give difficult, it is okay, I will leave. But if they give easy, I am not going to leave. Okay. So please, for whoever is asking, don't skip. Instead of reading 10 times instead of reading only post-independence India 10 times, read post-independence India 5 times, world history 5 times, and this 10 times. That is how you have to change the priorities. Okay, fine. Anything else, guys? Any other doubts? Yes. See, mainly if you are running from IVC up to let us say freedom struggle, dimensions I will teach, but if assuming that you will not join, dimensions is 3 things. One, culturally, another is politically, Another is socially. 3 dimensions are very important. Okay. And there also politically, when I say broader angle of politics, it is not about how the states was divided, that then Visyapati, that and all is not required. Okay. Politically, what happened during Mauryas? For example, Mauryans had a very strong bureaucratic system. But the same when you go into Guptas, there was no strong bureaucracy. There was strong judicial system. Like that, you have to see the political angles. Okay. Fine. Anything else? So if you have any doubts, irrespective of whatever it is, you don't have to subscribe to the program to ask me doubts. You can message me. This is my Telegram ID. Okay. And I will be giving my Gyan sessions in my channel. Okay. This is my channel. Okay. So here I will be putting my own things, my issues, the videos that I make, anything that I feel that is important for UPSC, I keep posting it there. Okay. So you people can message, I'll help you out. The moment you message, please wait for a few days because I may be busy, but I'll reply after a delay. Okay. Please sir, reply sir. Did I tell anything wrong sir? Sir, what happened sir? Don't keep telling like that. Okay, because I'll have other things to do, but I'll definitely reply. Okay. Yesterday only 3 messages I got like that. That's why I'm just telling you people. Okay. So this is how the course is going to be. So it will start from Monday, that is day after tomorrow. Okay. So from Monday, every day the courses will start at 10:30, from 10:30 to 3. That's how I have planned it out. Okay. What I do is more than sufficient. Okay. It is validated by the national topper, is come from my course only. Okay. And that All India rank 162, Mustafa, he has got the highest marks and that is not broken also. Okay. But telling that is not broken is wrong because the marks keep wavering. Okay. So I don't want to tell that, but what I am proud of is the national topper is from my course. Okay. So I have all the authority to tell that I am good at it. Okay. So believe in the program, you will ace it. Okay. Any other doubts? Can we wrap it up? Okay. So till Monday also you can do whatever other subjects you want. When we start the course, just go back home and revise what I do. That is more than sufficient. Okay. How will you evaluate yourself that what I do is enough? That is what sir does is enough is evaluated by you going back to the previous year question and trying to answer those questions with what I have taught. If you are able to answer those questions, that means what I am doing is justice. Okay. That's how you have to evaluate any course. Alright. So I'll see you guys on Monday at 10:30. If you have any doubts, you can ask. I'll be here. Online guys, I will be here. If you have any doubts, for 5 minutes I'll be here. You can ask. Otherwise, the session is done. I'll see you on Monday guys. Thank you. Society, do we need to know about theory or current issues? Though they are asking current issues in society, they are linking it to the static only. That's what I showed you, right? If they ask cryptocurrency also, they are linking it to the static. Whatever current issues that is happening, they will obviously link. For example, same-sex marriage is a current issue, but they are not going to ask about same-sex marriage. They are asking. They will ask. If they ask, they will ask how it will impact Indian society, customs, traditions, culture. You are getting it? So current and theory are both interrelated in society. Okay. Is Plassey to partition enough for modern India? My students don't read it, but if you have read that, just read one. Any one source is enough. Okay, if you have read one source, Bipin Chandra, okay, you go on with Bipin Chandra only. If Plassey to partition, go on with Plassey to partition. Spectrum, go on with spectrum. The game is never about which book you read. Okay, the game is about what is the approach in your answer writing using the content from that book. Okay, so if you have read Plassey to partition, read that only. Please don't read any other book after that. Is this course free of cost or paid? Unfortunately, Mayur, it is paid. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you on Monday. Bye. Though it is paid, you can contact me in Telegram. I'll help you in whatever way possible with this separate verticals. Alright. Thank you, Mayur. Thank you, guys.